mailer, or on the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
a double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door.
Drella got a stick on the puck. Hayes pulls
McDonald's
hard with it. Nail the car. Bouncing it back.
RV is a used RV. What do I get for my free office? Climb up on top of your RV and take a good detailed look at your roof. Check all the joints, connections, and seals. Then we'll give you a written report. You should do this.
The goodness of your heart, Rick?
Cards on the table, Bob. About 1 in 10 RVs we see have something wrong with the roof. If yours is one of them, then yes, we're going to leak is so bad you can see it from the inside. And you don't have to accept our offer to fix it. It really is free either way. So come by Noble RV and know for sure.
And that's Noble.
NobleRV.ca.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit JapaEquipment.com or stop our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
The Jason Gregor Show.
Car with it. Nail the car.
On Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Against Nick Paul. Bouncing it back. Withdrawal shot. It's blocked. It's out. The Oilers bound for the second round to meet the Buffalo Sabres as they come to Tampa Bay and run it 2-1.
Well, a lovely Monday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440. Sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. Hope you are having a lovely Monday. It's supposed to be nicer weather. Things are warming up. It's good. Oiler fans, the off season is here now. Something you haven't been used to in May, but I can tell you, heck, I remember when the offseason started in January, when the Oilers weren't even close way back when. So obviously you don't love it if you're an Oilers fan, but it's an opportunity for the Oilers organization to, I think, and hope that they have a rational evaluation of lots of different parts of their organization. Me personally, I don't believe the Oilers are that far away from being a cup contender. They weren't really this year because they were average all year long. They won 3 games in a row once until their final 8 games of the season, right? And then they got up to a 5-game winning streak. So twice, right? They weren't consistent all year long. So probably not a shock. Then you throw in injuries to key guys. Connor McDavid's got a fracture. Dickinson has a fracture. Hyman's banged up. Draisaitl's coming off a knee injury. Henrique's out. And little things. That's why I would hope if we're looking at things that you want to learn from over the course of the year, you want the organization to learn, I would hope that the fans who claimed Adam Henrique did nothing and added nothing to the team might be like, oh, geez, maybe there is something that he offers that I wasn't seeing. Because many of you were like, oh, Henrique's brutal. Get rid of him. He's awful. Szymanski will replace him. Oh, yeah, he did replace him. How did he replace him on the penalty kill? Right? Can't win faceoffs on a strong side. It's not his fault. It's not there yet. He's a rookie. So there are little areas of the game that matter. And if you look in the regular season, Henrique and Savoy as a duo were pretty good penalty killers together. They just were. So now we'll break into the, what I think has to happen in the offseason. What will happen, what should happen. There's a lot of factors, right? There's not like a blueprint you can say, if A and B and C and D happen, guarantees a win. No chance, right? If you firmly believe that if you fire the coach, the Oilers will win, great. No truth to it. It might make them better. It might not. Lots of coaches get fired every year in the NHL. Doesn't mean your team wins, okay? Does not mean your team has success and wins. So we'll get to that. I do think that there's got to be some changes or improvement on the coaching staff, just like there has to be on the roster. And I think management's got to make some better decisions across the board. There has to be improvement. So where will it happen? When will it happen? Good question. We'll get to that. Kevin Woodley will be by. We'll be talking on goaltending as Montreal is going to take on Buffalo. You have Anaheim and Vegas. We saw Colorado and Minnesota last night. Man, that was reminiscent of 2022 Oilers and Abs. Or that 8-6 game was wild. Similar to last night, where it looked like Colorado had a little bit of a game plan on wanting to shoot from the right side and go far side on Wallstead. They scored 5 goals that way. So I'm just saying, is it now? We'll see if Woodley had broke that down or not, but it seemed like a little bit of a trend, although maybe that was just where the lanes opened up. We'll see. Obviously, Makar is shooting from that side. So, he's not going to play left defense. He's obviously going to shoot from the right side. So I get it. Shane Willis will be by. Carolina looked very good in their opening game. Philadelphia looked like maybe they were just happy to be there for one game. At least that's what their coach thought. I think they'll be very hard pressed to win the series. I think Carolina's a better team. So we'll see where that series goes. The Maple Leafs making a move. John Shaika is in. Matt Sundin is in. My first question is, how is this going to be much different than Dubas Shanahan? Now, the thing is, some would say, well, if it was as good as Dubas and Shanahan, you'd be happy because they had a lot of success in the regular season. They were unable to win in the playoffs, but they had a lot of success at winning, right? They were a 100-point team pretty much every year. So we'll see, though. How will this one be different? Speck will be by. We got Cam Tate. Sean Brown will join us. We also get to your stats of the day and more. We'll take your thoughts. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province. PlayAlberta.ca. And tomorrow night, Lotto Max, $65 million plus 8 Max Millions and 65 prizes of $100K. Get your tickets, PlayAlberta.ca. As we welcome in Sean Brown to the show. Brownie, how you doing?
Good. I had a good weekend. Got to spend a little bit of time at Horlack Park. It's opened up. So my wife and I went down there, went for a little walk. They did a super job. Like, I don't know if you've been down there, but they got an unbelievable restaurant. And just the new viewing areas of the pond and the just the overall area and the energy of the people walking around. It's if you haven't been down there, it's a great spot to get to.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I like doing a lot of biking down in the river valley. So you
Love
can,
it.
oh yeah, you bike
Love
across a lot, kind of go on the backside
Yeah.
if you want to go, and then you connect, go across the bridge, end up over in Fort Edmonton. So It's good. Huh? It's good to know.
Yeah, you got to bring your family down there. Like it's nice that they have a restaurant down there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a nice restaurant. It's
Okay.
hard to get in there. I think the guy I was talking to him, I think we got a little bit lucky getting in there ourselves, but I think he had like 170 bookings or something like that, or a reservation. So I love it. I mean, it was just a beautiful weekend. It's nice to get out, and I love seeing the people running, walking, kids. It's just alive.
You're just sitting there drinking your beer while they're running. I like it.
No, absolutely. No. They had a great brunch.
Okay.
Edmonton did it well. I was very impressed.
I like it.
It's one
Good.
of the underused places of,
Well, our River Valley, we do
Yeah.
need to use more. 100%.
yeah. So
I would agree with that. So I want to get your thoughts on the Oilers. So if I look at changes, there's always going to be changes. I'm not one who's sold that there has to be massive change for the team. I don't know if you need massive change for the Edmonton Oilers. I think if I did I take and I try to remove emotion and I look at, okay, what went right, what went wrong? Number one, the Oilers never really found any consistency all year long. And Draisaitl and McDvaid both admitted it. Wasn't there. Draisaitl said, hey, my defensive game wasn't the level. Like, this guy was a Selke. Well, he finished 6th in Selke voting last season in 25. And then this year, obviously, he's not close. I'm not even sure he's going to get one vote. I don't think so. Nobody on Edmonton, I don't think, is going to get a vote. So as a team, they took a step back there. The penalty kill, once again, wasn't good. It was awful in the playoffs, right? Goaltending, you had 4 goalies. You switched out your goalies. It didn't lead to much different results overall. Part of that, I think, in today's NHL, your goaltending is somewhat reliant on the system in front of it for the most part. Like, your goalies will make some big saves every now and then. They can steal a game. Hello, Dobish, last night for Montreal, but not going to do that every night. And offensively, I don't really have any complaints offensively. The Oilers had 6 20-goal scorers. They tied for the most, which was second most. They had the most 18-goal scorers. Like, they could score. Offense is never an issue for this team. But when I look at it, I want to start with coaching. So I'm not sold that getting rid of Chris Knobloch's the right thing. Now, I know that the owner has a lot of money, and if they firmly believe that Knobloch isn't the guy, they're going to pay him out and not worry about it, right? They bought out other players. Now, the other players weren't really contributing, doing anything. But Knobloch, I felt if we look back and say, what would you have done different? Well, I think I would have had an extra experienced voice on my staff to start the year. Losing Gallitson and Coffey ended up being bigger than I think maybe they expected. Number 2, I'm going to have to make a change because Mark Stewart essentially lost his job this year when Paul Coffey came back, Brownie. Like, I don't see how you can go back to him now. You know what I mean?
No,
like
100%. Yeah.
You can't. Plus, the penalty kills being brutal. So I think there's one change. I look at, like, McFarland came in, the power play didn't really miss a beat. So I don't know, like, you would hope he would have more of a voice next year. But I think I replace Stewart. I'm going to bring in 2 coaches because I want more experience on my staff. So that'd be the change I would make. What about you? Would you fire the head coach or replace the head coach? What would you do?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think that, because Chris has done obviously a good job, and there was lots of times in the past 2 runs that they've, he's pushed the right buttons as far as taking guys out and putting guys in. This year was different. Obviously, they didn't, they didn't have the success, and I think there was times that as a coach he was looking down the lineup at his guys and not quite sure what he had in certain guys, and there was some missing identity. And I don't know if that was something, if it was a miss on his part, we'll never know if it was, a lack of communication, a lack of coaching, a misunderstanding on roles. But when you look at the top teams and the success that they have, I think roles are clear and defined on, what you have to do to be on the 4th line, the 3rd line, 2nd. And so there was definitely some uncertainty in some guys' games. You didn't know what they were or what their role was. And I think ultimately that inconsistency, obviously showed up in the playoffs and their lack of success. Right. So it's hard. It's not, I think when you're losing, I agree with you. You jump all over it and you could overanalyze this, and you can make some changes that don't necessarily have to be there or have to be done. But, this is really when you count on your management, right? Really understanding what he has and who he has. Is this just a one-off year? They played a ton of hockey. They got a little banged up, unfortunately, going, at different points in the season and going into the playoffs, which didn't help out. It would have made it tough even if they got past the first round. So I think there's some guys on the market right now, and we've seen it with Patrick Waugh, him getting fired with 2 or 4 games left.
Yeah.
You got Cassidy out there. He's a proven winner. And I just think that window of opportunity, I guess if it's me, I'm bringing in someone.
Like I know, see, here's the thing. So when people say, yeah, Cassie's a proven winner,
yeah,
right? I don't discount it. Chris Knoblauch went to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. So he loses game 7. So are you telling me in that one game, there's something the coach could have done, and if he wins the game, he's an infinitely better coach than losing one game? Because really, that's the difference between a Stanley Cup winner and a loser if you've been there twice, right? Like,
yeah, but
what did Paul Maurice ever come close to winning before he got the job in Florida?
Yeah. What I don't like about this year was the trend of the poor start, right? Training camp means something, regular season means something, and it's a build up to the playoffs.
Yep.
And I think that, this is the second year that they struggled at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, but historically, if you look at teams who lose in the Cup over the last 11 years, teams who lose in the Cup the next year, they don't have a good start.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I feel like the lack of identity in the third and fourth line and Frederick and certain guys in the seasons that they had, it just, to me, it's coaching, right? And there's no question that.
So you'd make the change?
I would make the coaching, because I have no doubt that he structurally understands the game and knows how to teach that and all that kind of stuff. But the part of trying to get the best out of your players, like that's ultimately the best coaches and have the ability to do that, right? And maybe it's going to take a guy that has actually won, not getting the game 7, but has won. And maybe his message, is different than somebody, that's on the market right now as far as his ability to communicate and get the best out of the players. And so I just think you got 2 years left. I would go with a new coach.
Okay. I look at, I see Cassie, there's lots of people talking about Tampa Bay and John Cooper and everything like that, they haven't won a series since 2022. And to me personally, I would be stunned if Tampa Bay fired. Stunned.
Really?
I don't see why you would. Like, if you believe that coaching was holding you back, you just lost a series in game 7 where you gave up 9 shots. So what was in coaching because he didn't shoot the puck into the net for his forwards? Like, what did he do? They dominated the game. So as a coach, what more could he have done in that moment?
For sure. But I just think Mike Sullivan's a great coach in Pittsburgh, right? I mean, he's just one of the best coaches.
He went to the Rangers and they did nothing.
Sometimes I just think over a period of time, sometimes you just have to switch it up. Is it necessarily the coaching? It's just sometimes the message gets stale. And sometimes just bringing in a new coaching staff, a new philosophy, a new way of communicating is not a bad thing. There's just coaches that.
But history shows you it actually has more that it doesn't improve your team than it actually leads you to winning. That's what's funny about it.
Really?
Right? Like if we look at statistically, look how many coaching fires there are every year. There's only one team who wins. So everybody else who changed the coach, in some cases they get better. In a lot of cases, they don't get any better.
Yeah.
And so I can see why people would do it. But I just think if I had one criticism of Knoblauch this year, I feel that he needs to hold players more accountable next season. Like 2 years ago when Draisaitl took the penalties to start the year, guess what? He made a statement. Draisaitl, now it was only 6 minutes, but that's your second best player. Yeah. It's pretty noticeable. Yeah. And you know what happened? Draisaitl took 1 penalty in the next 45 games. So it was like, okay, message sent. You don't have to berate him. It doesn't have to be a song and dance. You don't have to come out and your actions speak louder than words. Message sent. Now, to Leon's credit, he's the one who reacted the right way, right? Because you can bench a player, Brownie, and the player can be like, oh yeah, screw you, coach. And he doesn't play any better. I'm like, wow, everyone says it didn't work. I'm like, well, did it not work, or did the player not react? There's 2 ways to react. You can be a poopy pants and coach doesn't like me, or you can man up and say, guess what? I got sat down here because I've turned the puck over too many times, or I've made the wrong read, or I'm in the wrong position defensively again. And to me, that would be the one thing I think from Knoblauch that I would like to see. I don't think he did that this past season. like he did the year before.
And I think that you got to do that early.
Yes.
Right. You got to
agreed.
do it early. You got to do it. You got to establish it right in training camp. You got to start it at the beginning of the season. And have some clear expectations on what and everyone's role is. That's kind of, and, you know, uncomfortable conversations are all part of it. And the buy-in, I mean, the fact that, I mean, we all listen to, you know, the interviews, and their star players are saying the right things, right? They'll do whatever it takes for this team to get to the next level, and they'll be coachable, and they'll, you know, so yeah, I mean, it's hard. I think that losing just brings out the worst. Now everything's kind of magnified. But unfortunately for me, I felt like the season at the different times that I felt like there certain role players could have stepped up and had more of an opportunity. I think we missed it. And now that there's some guys on the market right now that have won and have a history of having success in the league, I wouldn't mind seeing a change.
All right. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We'll take a quick break. Kevin Woodley will join us next. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Your protein drink should work as hard as you do. That's why Booster Juice is hitting the gym harder than ever, brother. Meet your new gym buddies, the Way Too Good and Green Gains Booster Mixers. 2 new ripped and refreshing menu options that bench some serious protein. Perfect for pre or post workout. Way Too Good and Green Gains Booster Mixers taste like motivation. So what are you waiting for? Let's go!
Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
A lot of you love hockey season. But when it comes to construction season, you're not as excited unless you work for GS Construction. It's true. As one season is winding down, ours is winding up with all sorts of great projects to make the city we live in better. And our team is hiring. GS Construction is scouting for pipe layers, topmen, and heavy equipment operators. So if you want to score a great job, visit gsconstruction.ca today.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, healing doesn't have to feel heavy, because in our SwimX aquatic therapy pools, you literally float your way to recovery. Whether you're dealing with arthritis, back pain, joint injuries, post-surgical rehab, chronic pain, balance issues, mobility challenges, or just feeling a little creaky, warm water and gentle resistance have your back, your knees, and your hips. Trusted by pro sports teams and rehab hospitals, our SwimX pools help you move sooner, hurt less, and recover faster. So take the load off. Let the water do the work. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Hold on to your hockey helmets, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 69-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot. And Molson Canadian and Coors Light for $5.75. Plus, OTR's TVs are so clear, you'll see the puck better than the ref. That ain't hard, is it? Score and win every game night during Edmonton's playoff run with specials starting 30 minutes before puck drop and last for the whole game. Be a part of the legend. See the menu at ontherocksYEG.com.
Debt can take over your life. The stress, the constant worry, it can feel like you're drowning. When people come to see me, they're often anxious and feeling hopeless. But when I explain how I can help them get out of debt, those feelings melt away. I'm Parveen Middleton, licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I will create a personalized debt relief plan so you can move forward with confidence. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
Everybody loves a beautiful day in Edmonton. Hey, it's Jamie, and Green Drop Lawn Care is giving you one more reason to love the nice weather. Next nice day service. People always ask, how soon can Green Drop get here? Well, when you sign up with Next Nice Day service, we'll be there by tomorrow. Assuming Mother Nature cooperates, we'll be fertilizing and treating your weeds by the very next day. We'll even include Drought Fighter at no additional cost. Just another reason we have been Canada's lawn expert since 1979. Easy online signups only at greendrop.com.
Rivalries run deep in Alberta football.
Edmonton all the way. Calgary rules.
But when it comes to the best snack for three-down fun, there's no Battle of Alberta. It's a clear winner.
Wilhock Beef Jerky.
The one thing every Alberta fan agrees on. So whether you're watching the game from your recliner or in the stands, make it a part of your game day.
Wilhock Beef Jerky. Because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk. The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on Monday afternoon, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. We'll get some open line time a little bit later on. We're also going to hear from Leon Draisaitl today on the program. I like to, you can take one quote from somebody and he's like, oh, I'm concerned, and everybody freaks out. Oh, he's concerned. You can be concerned without being nervous, right? Or thinking, oh my God, we're so far away, we have no choice. We have no chance. Well, of course you're concerned because, hey, you went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final 2 years ago, then you went to Game 6, and then this year you didn't get out of the first round. You didn't play as well. So it's fair to be concerned. It doesn't mean that he's lost faith that the team can't be successful. I think there's two different things there. So we'll get to, I thought Draisaitl, like his press conference and how he spoke and how he answered the questions, very honest and about a lot of things. If I was an Oilers fan, I'd listen to that and say, hey, here's one of my leaders. He knows what the hell's going on. He's saying, hey, we shouldn't be satisfied with our results. And he's bang on. They shouldn't be. From management to coaches to players, they all underachieved this year. They all did. Not just a coach, not just one GM, right? Not just one player. All of them collectively. Defensively for some, offensively for others, decision-making for some. You look at how you ran the bench, who you played where, management trades they made, all those sorts. I think they all would have some X's beside their name this year.
I'm kind of like, this is kind of new to me. I mean, you've been doing it a lot longer than I have, but I think the concern or, where fans are coming from maybe is the fact that it just seems like, they're voicing their opinion more than I've seen other players voice their opinions in the past. Would you agree?
Well, they get asked, I think. Yeah. And Draisaitl's, he's confident to speak the truth, right? Like he's a very direct guy, right? Like Leon, he doesn't, he's joked about it, man, I don't hide my emotions well. So I don't have a problem. I think our society is so damn soft that nowadays, so he just said what he felt truthfully. Yeah. He didn't disparage anyone. He didn't scream at anyone. He didn't yell at anyone, didn't call anybody names, didn't point and say, this is the one guy. He had lots of reasons as to why they lost. Yeah. And he's bang on. So to me, I think it's when you have high standards and you don't reach them, it's okay to say, hey, we got to be better. Like it's that simple. Also, this just coming down, Ridley Gregg, 2-game suspension for his sucker punch.
That's it.
2 games. So, well, yeah, they probably don't have a precedent, I guess. Is glove on? Sucker punch is probably why. Like,
really?
Yeah.
That was so dirty.
Yeah.
That was gross.
Yeah. Oh, no, it was cheap beyond. Oh, trust me. He's getting a 2-game suspension, Brownie. The actual on ice, that's where he's going to pay the piper. Yeah. And I'm actually okay with that. I'm actually, you know what? And it won't just be one game. There'll be multiple games where he's going to have to answer the bell now for that. Yeah, for sure.
Not even just the team that he suckered.
Yes,
just throughout the league. I think 100%. He's just lost respect.
Yes, there's going to be lots of guys around the league. They're like, man, when I get a chance, and it's him, I might take a little bit of extra juice.
Yeah. The game is hard enough. I don't know why you'd make it any harder.
Yeah.
I would not be doing that.
Yeah. Let's get to In the Room, brought to you by Action Electrical, where you can take action on your savings. If you're thinking about, look at that big orange thing outside. We got the sun now, or you can save a lot of money on solar. If you want it for your home or your business, and you can save a lot of money with federal grants, go to actionelectrical.net. They'll walk you through the entire process. They've done about 350 of these and keep doing more every week. As Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com joins us. Woodley, how you doing?
I'm good. Almost through the second round previews. Got just finished Alex Lyon and a little update on Jakub Dobeš this afternoon, and then I can sit back and enjoy the rest of this hockey.
So now, I don't know how closely you watched last night's Minnesota-Colorado game. It was highly entertaining.
I did from the fetal position as a goaltender.
Oh, yeah. Colorado had 5 goals from basically the right side, some inside the circle, Kev, and then one of other was kind of through a screen from Makar. And then afterwards, Kadri talked about, hey, you know what? I saw something that we had seen from the goalie. Is there any, is he leaning 2 more on the left? Have you seen anything? Because I know you do a lot of scouting. Does Wallstead have a little bit of vulnerability from shots from that right circle?
Trying to remember them all in my head, because let's be honest, there were a lot last night.
Oh, yes.
It's a bit of a blur. But if I'm not mistaken, a fair amount of them went sort of back the other way against the grain.
Yes,
and
so that's what I'm saying. They come down the right side and they're beating them far side.
Right. And so good job, Colorado Avalanche, as if they did. I'm just teasing, for reading the NHL.com breakdown, because if there's a hedge for Jesper Wallstead, it's short side. It's subtle, but he is such a massive frame. He presents so big. His reactive game is not poor, but he is a positioning goaltender. And so he makes you make great shots to beat him. You're not much is going to go through him. A little bit on the 5-hole on rebounds and stuff, but mostly he's going to make you tickle the bars. And the one hedge is he will lean short side and give up that far side against the grain, back the other way. To be honest, I haven't broken it down from right to left. That's actually a good assignment. If the Wild move on, I'll have that ready for the conference final. But for sure, in both directions, there's a slight hedge. He shades short side for the most part when you're coming down the wing, or if you're cutting into the middle. So going back the other way is a recipe and something that I'm sure they've identified as well. And
everybody has it.
They also executed. They made those shots, and they made them at a really, how many were dinging in, right? Off the bar and in. So sometimes you got to tip your hat, but for sure, this is the playoffs, man. That narrative is going to build and build and build as this series goes on, to the point where another one like that, and obviously I think we're going to see Philip Gustafsson. So,
well, what was interesting though is at the other end, Wedgwood, who couldn't get beat 5-on-5, or really didn't get beat at all, but it's the Kings. No offense, they don't really have the offensive firepower. But it was one game. We saw Edmonton, Colorado back in 2022 go 8-6 in game 1, right? Defense is a little bit optional. But I watched that game, and I don't even know if it was defense was optional. There were some guys just making some really good shots. And you've got fast players, bing, bang, boom. Sometimes I'm like, damn, I didn't like the Kadri goal was the one goal, Kev, where I looked and said, man, that's the one I think at times you'd want to save from, for me.
And I get it, because it's a clear-sighted shot down the wing, right? For sure. Even though it's I guess I call it a partial or a breakaway. But man, if you this is the reality. And whether it's Nazem Kadri or a fourth liner in practice, you get into that range and you hit your spot, especially, let's put it this way. If that's the first one of the game or the second one of the game, there might be a little more reactivity in Wallstead's game. It's not like he's passive. It's not like he's a blocker when I say, he'll give you the edges. But by the time you're at your 7th, you're probably in a little bit of a hit me mindset. And so that glove isn't as active. But at the same time, at the end of the day, when you hit your spot, you hit, that was a hell of a shot. And that was barring in. And so it'll be interesting to see, if you're the Wild, you have to judge that confidence now. Does Jesper have the confidence? And I think that kid's got so much swagger that, I'm not worried about this. But, is he confident going into game 2 where he's going to be a little more patient. He's going to be a little more reactive, and that glove isn't going to be, dropping to his hip as that shot is released. It's going to be up around his ear trying to protect the top of the net.
Kevin, I'm just curious to get your thoughts on, obviously it wasn't a great season for Tristan Jarry. I don't know where the Oilers are at and what goalies are out there, but Philadelphia picked up Dan Vladar. Is there a goalie out there that you think that maybe could use another opportunity or could maybe fill in a hole for a team like the Edmonton Oilers or just another team in general?
Well, there's a handful of guys. Obviously, Bob's going to be the big name on the free agent market. I still don't think he ends up leaving Florida, but we'll see how that pans out. Like this is a bit of a two-headed question, because unless they start defending better, and we talked about this all year about how they were like not just bottom third, but for large stretches bottom 3 in the NHL defensively, and that we expected they had the ability to flip the switch. Well, it sort of happened and it sort of didn't, right? There were moments within that series where they just gave away too many easy goals. And yeah, they could have used more saves, but so Sean, there's goalies out there, absolutely, that in the right environment could really thrive. And Vladar's a great example. Now, Vladar also had, I believe it was an 899 expected, which is like 11 points above the league average this year. Now, he outperformed it by a significant margin, but in a Rick Tocchet system where you only have to worry about one half of the net, he was a perfect fit. And so, I guess what I would say is if Dan Vladar had come to Edmonton instead this year, would I have expected the same level of success? I'm not so sure. I'm really not so sure. And so are there goalies out there that would be, I'm telling you right now, we had this conversation last summer. Michael DiPietro is coming off an American Hockey League Goalie of the Year season. That guy's ready for the NHL. I've talked to a lot of people around him. Like he's ready to play, including goalies, his peers. He's ready to play in the NHL. But in a cup or bust window for the Edmonton Oilers, is that the kind of bet you're placing? Dan Vladar was a great story because making the playoffs was all Philadelphia needed. But the pressures here are different. And that's a part of that conversation. It can't just be a goaltender who, hey, he's big, he's got physical tools. I find a bunch of those. I do believe that, they targeted Artur Shilovs, who had a hell of a playoffs after he came off the bench for Stuart Skinner. But the Canucks, after the Podkolzin trade, weren't about to make another move like that would come back to haunt the now fired general manager. So there are guys out there for sure, but it just feels like they need, after all these years of trying to find a guy, I just get the sense that they need the guy. And I'm not sure where you find the guy.
So do you feel like Tristan Jarry, was this just maybe a one-off? Is there more in his game if the Oilers can kind of clean up the defensive part of their game? And if you're a goalie coach, what does the summer look like for him, and what are you building on? What are you working with? Where do you go with him?
And Pittsburgh worked him hard the last couple of years. There was talk about conditioning, and I think it's improved. Is there another level? I don't know. I'm not in that room every day. So that's part of it. Interestingly enough, his work, this is the one sort of catch-22. Like his off seasons in the summer have typically been spent with the goalie coach they fired last year, and the fan base went wild and was all excited about it. And I think this is not, and listen, because I think Peter Aubrey is an excellent coach. This is more to the point that, clearly it wasn't all about the goalie coach you got rid of, right? So the irony now is that's who he typically works with in the summer. And he's done some work with, a third-party tracking guy. Like he's made some changes in his game. And that's why, listen, like I'm as guilty as anyone, right? You guys had me on the air after they made that trade. I looked at the underlying numbers. He'd made significant strides, I thought, at the beginning of the season with Pittsburgh. He was playing really well in a tough environment. Like I believe there's a goalie there, but the pressures here are totally different. And so the question becomes, do you go back to the work he was doing last offseason and just drill down further and trust that more comfortable, understanding the pressures, understanding the room, understanding the marketplace and the system in front of him, and see if you can get a reset out of him? Because he's got the skill, he's got the talent. Of that, I believe firmly. But also the second part, and this is kind of the Connor Ingram conversation too, because he was good for them, right? And I think my biggest criticism of them is not having a look at him before making that trade, right? Like you never had a look at him until you made the trade and Jarry got hurt, and that's the only reason you found out what you had. So that's my criticism there. But at the end of the day, they got to the playoffs, and I thought he was fine until the playoffs. And the performance wasn't all on him by any stretch, but he ends up the only guy with worse numbers so far in the playoffs. Although Dostal's not far behind him, but the only guy worse is Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, and he only lasted 2 games, didn't even last 2 games for the Buffalo Sabres. So even if you see Connor Ingram as a fit, and maybe that's a tandem, now that the playoffs have been a struggle, like, do you think, hey, that's just an adjustment he can make? He needed to go through that experience. It is a big learning curve. He'll be better next time. We like his game. We like how he can fit here. And, I don't know where they come out on that conversation. It does, again, sort of harken back to, for all the criticism of Stuart Skinner, you know what you're getting in the playoffs, and it usually didn't change, right? For better or for worse, his game didn't change from one night to the other. There were some things in Ingram's game that clearly Anaheim went after successfully. So this is part of the evaluation you have to make as the Oilers. Like, hey, does he fit? Yes, but is he the guy that's going to get us over the top? Because we need to find one of those guys.
Hard to do. Kevin Woodley from Ingo Magazine and NHL.com joins us. Yeah, go ahead, Ken.
I was just going to say, you know what might make it easier? Look down the road at Calgary. Like we talked about Jesper Wallstedt. Yep. I know the goalie coach wanted Jesper Wallstedt in that draft year. He was excited. We were texting back and forth because he was excited they were going to get him. And then they passed on it.
Mm-hmm.
Who's making the decisions around goaltending? Because I don't think enough. There's, for whatever reason, and I don't know for sure. So I don't know whether how much weight or decision-making Peter or contributions. I'm assuming some. And so I'm not putting him on the spot. I haven't asked him. I haven't talked to him. But in the past, it's felt a lot like the goalie people don't have a strong enough voice in the goalie decisions. And you look down at Calgary and you look at the director of goaltending and you look how they continually find guys. Devin Cooley had the best numbers in the entire National Hockey League this year.
Yeah.
His adjusted save percentage led the league. They found that guy. Heck, I was talking about that guy that summer. Now, again, there's a risk involved. When you're a cup or bust team, you want the guy, not a potential guy. And so I get that. But I look at other teams that are unearthing this. They have really good goalie people in that organization. I love the work being done in the American Hockey League. I just feel like, other teams are spending on a director and having better results. And I wonder if finding the right guy at the top of that and a stronger voice within management decisions might be something they should consider investing in.
There's lots of talk about Detroit because you've got Sebastian Cossa, who I'm pretty sure will require waivers next season because he's had 4 years as a pro. And they have Trey Augustine, who's going to come out of college. So now Augustine could be their starter in the American League and Cossa could be the backup in the NHL, right? Like it'd be very easy to do that. And then just go with John Gibson. And you know what? By the time John Gibson's done, then Trey Augustine comes up and maybe you got your tandem for a few years in Detroit to see how it goes. But where do you come out on Augustine and Cossa? Who do you like better? Or is it too early to say?
This is not a criticism at all of Sebastian Cossa because he's had a really nice development path and they have slow road his development path to the point where I got to think it's a little frustrating. I don't think he's even playing. I don't think he started in the American Hockey League playoffs the other day. So they've got either Slovakian or Czech kid that I believe started ahead of him. Like they're deep in goal. By the way, they have a director of goaltending. So, I don't watch enough American hockey, like full stop. Don't watch enough American Hockey League to have a really strong opinion on Sebastian Cossa's game. But the people I talk to about his game, believe there's still upside there. And if they were to risk him on waivers, he's certainly been connected to Edmonton a number of times. So I could see that being a fit. All he does is, produce at both levels. They keep holding him down. I'm a huge Augustine guy. I talk to more people about him, and a lot of people are really big on him as a future star in this league, including Alex Lyon. Ironically, they spent a little time together. I can't remember if it was at a Detroit camp or a USA Hockey United States World Championship thing, but he thinks that guy's legit. So they got a ton of goaltenders, and I don't think they're an organization, given how much of a struggle it's been to find the guy in the NHL, that's going to give one away. But you might be able, and I've been saying, Jason, what I said this last year or a year and a half ago, there's a guy that there was starting to be some buzz around the league you might be able to steal away from the Detroit Red Wings. And I know enough people that believe enough in his game that it might be a shot worth taking.
Kev, we'll talk to you again soon, man. Enjoy round 2. We'll see what comes from a few of the other goalies, and we'll talk to you next Monday.
Yeah, a few less 9-6 games because the fetal position looks comfortable, but after a while, it's not.
Buddy, it's great. Love it. Appreciate it, man.
Take care, guys.
There you go. That is Kevin Woodley from Ingo Magazine, NHL.com. When we come back, we're going to hear from Leon Draisaitl. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Japa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
Oodle Noodle origin. In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudel, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the New World. At Ellis Island, Nudel was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as
Oodle Noodle. You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
O'Hanlon Paving is looking for finished skid steer operators, finished grader operators, Class 1 drivers, and more to join their Edmonton Road Crew team. Bring your positive attitude and great work ethic to their job fair, Friday, May 8th from 10 till 3. Visit O'HanlonPaving.com/careers.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. It feels good to know your fund goes further at home. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Need equipment on the job fast? Japa Equipment Rentals in Atchison has you covered. Excavators, wheel loaders, compaction equipment, and more, backed by expert service. Visit JapaMachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
'47. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. Of course, NBA playoffs. You had the Pistons come back from a 3-1 deficit. You had the 76ers trust the process as they came back from a 3-1 deficit over the Boston Celtics. The Celtics organization was 32-0 when they had a 3-1 series lead in the NBA playoffs until that game. Meanwhile, the 76ers were 0-18. Like, NBA doesn't have a lot of 3-1 comebacks, but they had 2 on the weekend. Wow. Now the Raptors, oh my God. They looked really good. They're playing great. And then they just fell apart in the final few minutes of the second quarter. And then they got blown out in the second half. So that was an ugly end to their season. I know they got some young guys, but that was an ugly, ugly end. So playoffs tonight have the 76ers in New York take on the Knicks, and the Timberwolves taking on the Spurs. So the Nuggets out. Well, that's just a little easier path for the Spurs and the Thunder. But let's be honest. I don't think anybody's beating the Thunder, man. I think they're going back to back. They look really good and they get rested. So should be fun. Of course, NHL playoffs continue on. Tonight, we have the Flyers and the Hurricanes and the Ducks in Vegas. Go to playalberta.ca, and we got some NHL, NBA odds boost specials for you on the Jason Gregor Show, so you can check that out. Now, Oiler fans, on the weekend, I'm sure you probably saw some clips. Everybody likes to go viral, and they play like one clip, and they think that's the whole thing. I'm not a big fan of that. Let's play the whole thing. So Leon Draisaitl, I thought, had a really good press conference. It was 12 minutes. But this is you get a much better feel of what he thinks about the entire organization. Yeah, he was concerned that they took a step back, as he should be. Like, if he wasn't concerned, to me, that'd be the story. Being concerned, I don't think, is the story. It's everything else that he said. So I'll let you listen to it, and then we'll discuss it afterwards. Here's Leon Draisaitl. First of all, just talking about what was his takeaway from this season.
I mean, there's always many lessons throughout a year. But I think one lesson for us is that, you need to build over the stretch of regular season, certain moments of games, certain moments of seasons, how to handle those. And I don't think we did a good job of that in the regular season. Like, we all know the stats with the 3 games, but there's many games where, maybe we ended up winning the game, but it's not the right way of winning the game. And I think you learn those things as a group throughout the season, how to go on a 6-game winning streak, right? Or how to go on a 3-game winning streak, how to win games 3-1. And I think we kind of lost track a little bit of, how to do it properly.
Leon, just in terms of going out in the first round here after a couple of years of going to a cup final, you know how much you guys want to win. Are you concerned that organizationally this has moved in the wrong direction? And how concerning is that for you?
Yes, I am concerned about that. And a little bit of that leads into, obviously as players, like I said before, like, we didn't do a good enough job of, properly winning games. And I don't like using the terminology of taking the regular season serious, because we do. We go into every game and we try to do it right. We say the right things, but I think you really have to, in regular season form these moments. You have to get comfortable in these moments, and we didn't do that this year. And it ended up, showing in the first round here. So, but yes, I am concerned because we're not trending in the right direction. We've taken big steps backwards, and we got to get a grip of this and head back in the right direction.
One of the things around this organization for a long time, and it just came up with Chris, was we need to give the whole roster more ownership of what we're doing here. It can't just be on the top guys like it so often is around here. From the top of the roster where you're sitting, how do you see that concept of having everybody a little more involved in the product here?
There's no choice but that. Like, the best team that we've had in 2024, everybody played such a major role in it. Like, that was the best team we've had. And everybody was so big, the McLeods, the Fogels, all those guys. They played such a massive role in all of it. DeHarnay, CC, all those guys. And you need those guys to win. You need those guys to go deep. Yes, I think at the end of the day, Connor, Bushi, maybe myself, like, maybe the 3 of us, when the game's on the line, we have to make a difference, and the day to day, we have to set the tone, and We have to lead in the right way and come up with these big goals and these big moments. Yes, but at the end of the day, it's not a 3-man team. It's not a 4-man team. You need everybody to feel important. You need everybody to want to be important. And yeah, I think something to look forward to next season.
So you're signed here for a long time. Connor obviously isn't. I have to ask you about the sort of Connor McDavid window here. How much does this organization, how much does McDavid's time here and potential time here shape everything we're doing around here?
A lot. I mean, in what world do you have the best player in the world on your team and you're not looking to win? Or you're like, and I know we're looking to win, but we need to be better. We have to be better. There's no way around it. We have to improve. And he's signed for 2 more years, and God knows where that goes. But we have 2 years here right now. As of right now, we have 2 years, and we have to get significantly better.
Yeah, just about some work players. Is that actually easier to do if you play by 1-1?
For me personally?
No. In terms of getting work players involved more, you and Connor played 21 minutes together. And is it easy? Do you think as a player it would be easier to get more players involved?
I don't know. I think that's a question for the coach, probably. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just minutes wise, logically, you would say yes, because we're out there together for our 22, whatever it might be. And then you have more minutes. When we're separate, you have he plays his 22, I play my 21, whatever it is, then that's 45 minutes almost. Where's the rest go, right? Yeah, I don't know how to answer it. Maybe it is, maybe it's not.
As a player that could potentially drive someone.
I think he has the potential to become that good. I think there's a lot of upside still to him. Which is a great sign. What a great hockey player, really. What a great human being. So happy to have him here. I think there's still steps where you can officially say, you can drive your own line every single night for 82 games. That's a lot. That you're asking the best players in the world to do that. But he's certainly a top 6 forward. He's certainly a very, very, very good hockey player. Yeah.
Some players on Florida were asked this, but do you think there's a possibility there might be a benefit in having a longer summer to allow your body and your mind to heal from all the hockey you've played over the last 4 years?
It's hard sitting here. Like I want to be playing right now, but sometimes, there's a point in time, I think, where you take the positives out of this situation. And I think for us as a group, maybe it is good, to actually take 2 weeks off of training. The last 2 seasons, everybody took 7 days off working out, and then you're back in the gym, right? Like that's not a lot of time. So maybe it might be beneficial for everybody to get away from it for a little time and just get a little extra rest.
And my follow-up would be, over the course of the regular season, you and Connor specifically and Bouchard, you put up big numbers, and around the league, some other players are putting up those numbers with slightly less ice time. I'm wondering whether you think long-term, especially to be at maximum health and energy entering into the playoffs, is that something that maybe you'll discuss with the coaches at some point next season?
I think what makes Connor and I who we are is because we want to be out there. We want to be out there in every situation. We want to play a lot. But sometimes you hear things, I don't know if this is you guys or whoever it might be, that, we talk to coaches about wanting to play 24, 25 minutes. That is never, ever the case. Like we know very well we've been around long enough that we need everybody. You need your third line to get their minutes for them to feel great about themselves. Like, we're very aware of that. So that we can squash that. That never happened. Your best players need to be on the ice, though, to feel good. That's everywhere. If you go to a Nate McKinnon, like, there's a certain time frame that he needs to be on the ice. Like, that's just the way it is. And that's every good player, every good team in the league. But I think Connor and I are both, whatever a coach wants from us, we're willing to do. If it makes our team better, if it gives us a better chance to win, we're open to it. Yeah.
Leon, how compromised were you in this series with your injury? And
yeah, a little bit, I would say, for sure. Didn't feel like I had the pop in my step that I would like to have, or maybe that I usually have, all in all, it felt strong. It felt good enough to, have an impact in certain moments, but certainly not at 100%.
And the coach just said that Connor had a fracture somewhere. Could you tell in the games that he couldn't do the things that he normally could do?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all saw it, right? Yeah, I mean, his advantage to everyone is his speed and the way he attacks, right? So, I mean, he's still dangerous. He's still amazing, even with that. But I mean, I think we could all tell that it took a step out of him.
Coach Novak talked about identity sometimes maybe gets spread out too much. No team has one specific one. You got to be good in a lot of different areas. But you talked about puck management, and for this group, being more aware, managing the puck offensive zone, defensive zone. I know you took big pride in your top 5 in the Selke voting last season. Where do you feel the group was this year as a group defensively? We know you can score. You've been a top 5 scoring team. Is that got to be the focus of this group, to just be better defensively?
Yeah, for sure. And I take myself right to the top of that. I wasn't necessarily happy with the way I defended all season or the details in my game. I feel like they slipped away from me a little bit, and that's certainly something that I really want to focus on. Those things are hard to focus on in the summer. The summer skates they're summer skates, but when I'm coming back here, and I think that should be our focus for next season, at least to start the year, that those little details, they go a long way. And I can only speak for myself, but I do think that it slipped into our group a little bit, that I got away from us a little bit.
Just given some of the comments you made earlier this year, Connor had a couple comments where he was pretty complimentary about Tampa's coaching staff. From the outside, some might look into this and, add all those comments together and think that there's a lack of confidence. What would you say, Leon, about the job that the staff did and, where the group is at, or where you're at with the staff?
My comments came from a general objective of our organization, of our team. And I don't like singling out anyone. So in that interview, I know it was perceived as like I went after the coach and all this. And yes, I did go after a coaching staff, but I also said, like, I have to be better. Our leaders have to be better. I think our group took a step back, and I think the same thing about our coaching, about our management. Like, I think the whole organization, we took a step back, and that needs to be fixed. And at the end of the day, I can only control what I can control, though. And I have to be honest with myself. My details slipped away from me, not up to my standard, and that's something that I will change. But that whole thing was, I'm just generalizing our whole team, our whole organization. This was not about one coach, or I think we all just needed to be better.
It sounds like, put together all the things you said to us today, and they've been good. The organization, the players, everybody maybe just took for granted a little bit being a really good team and getting to cups. Did you guys just, I'm not going to say thought it'd be easy, but did you just take for granted that you're just going to be a good team no matter what?
I think a little bit. I think those things, they happen humanly, naturally a little bit sometimes. Like, I can tell you from within our room, like, we're not going into games or into series and we're like, oh, this is going to be walk in the park. Like we're just, this, you never think like that as an athlete. That never happens. But I think maybe we lost a little bit of that fire that we had the last 2 years. Because it has been a lot of hockey. It has been a long season. And so, yeah, I don't know if taking it for granted, I would say, but I do think that there's many parts that just somehow we took a little step back.
Well, there you go. From lots to get to there from Leon Draisaitl. Anything stand out, Brownie?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting when he talked about his defensive game and it slipping. And I think that's to your point on what you touched on earlier about the coach not holding guys accountable. And I think he proved right there that, that's I would say the hardest part of coaching, right, is holding guys accountable, those uncomfortable conversations, and especially when they're your best players as well. And he's not the only one. I mean, they weren't a good checking team, right? And it wind up costing them. They just I know that they played him a lot. I think that, there was times I think he had no choice, as I talked about earlier. When you look down the lineup and you don't know exactly what you're going to get from certain players, you're not necessarily too excited to put them out there. So, I think failure to touch and address that, because at least when I was in the NHL and playing and throughout my career, just that uncomfortableness of always kind of looking over your shoulder and wondering and just, being edgy, right? And having something to prove to stay in the lineup and having something to offer each shift, each game, I think is important. And that's something that a coach can create that environment for their team. And I just felt like there was this, too many times, and there was plenty of opportunity throughout the season where, you're up a couple goals, down a couple goals, where certain guys needed to play a certain way and needed to address the situation on the ice, whether it was, just playing a hard, heavy shift, maybe getting in a scrum, playing with a little bit of emotion, finding different ways to kind of drag yourself and other guys into the fight.
Yeah. So we'll get more into Draisaitl and his thoughts right after Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by GoAuto.ca. Not only do they have 15,000 vehicles for you to choose from, but they also give back a ton to the community, over $27 million that they have donated back to various charities in the communities they work. GoAuto.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
2 games tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Canes trying to take a 2-0 series lead over the Flyers at 5. Then at 7:30, it's game 1. Ducks and Golden Knights off the ice. Toronto Maple Leafs naming John Shake as the new GM. Matt Sundin is the new senior advisor. Hockey operations. The shakeup managed the Coyotes from 2016 to 2020 while Sundin captained the team for 10 seasons. It is their all-time leader in points. Also, Ottawa Senators forward Ridley Gregg has been suspended for the first 2 games of next season for roughing Kings defenseman Sean Walker in their first-round series. In the association, you got Sixers and Knicks from New York. Game 1 of their best of 7. Also, Spurs and Timberwolves at 7:30. Major League Baseball, Blue Jays in Tampa to take on the Rays. First pitch set for 4:40. We'll join that game in progress on our AM feed. Also, Marlins taking on the Phillies, Red Sox, Tigers, Cubs host the Reds, Brewers in St. Louis, Astros hosting the Dodgers, and the Braves head to Seattle. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Carolina Hurricanes analyst and former NHLer Shane Willis, and we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
In Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Your protein drink should work as hard as you do. That's why Booster Juice is hitting the gym harder than ever, brother. Meet your new gym buddies, the Way Too Good and Green Gains Booster Mixers. 2 new ripped and refreshing menu options.
How are you?
Some serious protein. Perfect for pre or post workout. Way too good. And Green Games booster mixers taste like motivation.
Sports
So what are you
1440,
waiting for? Let's go.
Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill, still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell, and we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me, GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
You see it? Fusion Promo Marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. And yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Mortgages to Go. Need cash and have equity in your home? Mortgages to Go has you covered. When the bank says no, they say yes. They've been doing it in Alberta for over 23 years. Call 1-888-888-5998 or visit mortgagestogo.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.310, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Of course, sporting world, I know Oiler fans, you feel like maybe it's gone. No. There is lots to discuss in the sporting world for both the Oilers. We'll get into Leon Draisaitl's comments right now. It's always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Lottery Instance, live dealer, casino, sports, and more. Your one-stop shop. Check it out at PlayAlberta.ca and get the Jason Gregor Show odds boost specials. We got a little NBA action as well as some NHL tonight. Are we going to see Ducks Vegas score some goals? I think so, based on how both of those teams went in the first round. I kind of like that. So we'll see what goes on there. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 is where you can text us. Leon Draisaitl. I like to play his whole interview because if people only hear, oh, I'm concerned, they just think, oh my God, he's so upset about everything. And then when you listen to this whole thing, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, he's concerned. They took a step back. Then he talked about how I think I took a step back in my defensive game. And you can go on to other things. As a group, we kind of took, and that's what I've said. I've said it for years that the Oilers' regular season is not good enough. Now, I know that they got to the Stanley Cup final, but they got to the Stanley Cup final with 106 points. It wasn't like they were win one, lose one, win two, lose two, win one, lose one. Like, that's not what they were that year, right? They showed stretches where they were dominant team. Like, they never really showed that this year. When were they a dominant team? Ever. So I think you have stretches where you're a dominant team. No one's you're not winning 8 out of every 10 all year long, right? Well, I guess the Boston Bruins did it once. So yeah. And then sadly, what happened to them? Then they switched. They went away from what got them to the playoffs. I'll never forget that. Like, that is the prime overthinking things. Hey, how do we get the best record all time? Well, we played our goalies. We just rotated our goalies. Okay. What are we going to do in the playoffs? Well, now we're just going to go with one goalie. Why? Like, why? There's no reason. Everybody else does it. So what? Just because everybody else does it, no one's done what you did in the regular season. Until I'm dead, I will look back on that, and I would love the coach to sit down and explain to me why you thought that was the way to go. Jim Montgomery. I'd love to know. I would love to know what happened. Now, we got text. Gregor, I think Cassidy is the obvious choice for the Edmonton Oilers. Okay. But why though? It's easy to say that he's the obvious choice. You got to give me reasons why you think he's the obvious choice, right? So, he coached for the Washington Capitals for a year, and then he got fired after 25 games of his second season. Okay. And they made the playoffs his first year, and then got fired 25 games into his second year. Right. Then he went back and he coached in the American, and he was out of the NHL for about basically a decade. Then he came back and he was with the Bruins in 16-17. He became the head coach for the Bruins. And, they had some good seasons. They went to the finals in 2019. And then when he left Boston, he went to Vegas, right? Boston had a great year. Vegas had a good year, right? He's made the playoffs every year that he's finished as a head coach. So but making the playoffs in Edmonton, I don't think is very difficult when I would look at their team. I think they're a playoff team. Now, winning the division, well, we can have a conversation about that because they haven't done that in a long time. The thing is, if you look at Boston when he left, they had their greatest year ever the next year, right? Vegas, he leaves, and now who knows where Vegas is going to go, but look at what they've done since he left. And my only question is, my question I would ask is, it's great to have a coach who's hard on players, but if it gets to the point where the players hate him, is that good? Right? It's a fine line.
Oh, yeah.
It's a fine line, Brian. You can be hard on guys, right? And now here's the truth. Not every player is going to hate him. Not every player is going to love him. But if you feel the consensus is lots of oh, geez, this is wearing on us. Okay, well, we'll see where it goes. But so I can understand why people are intrigued by Bruce Cassidy. No question in my mind. I could understand why you do it. But all I'm going to say is, just because you hire Bruce Cassidy does not guarantee that you're going to win. And that's the challenge. So you make the decision. It's really the owner's going to have to sign off on it because Knobloch's extension hasn't even kicked in yet. It begins on July 1st, right? It's a 3-year deal.
3-year, yeah.
So it's like you're going to have two head coaches, one of them working for you, one of them not. And hey, and if you're the GM and you make that decision, well, now this is your second hire, right? I know technically, but you signed it to the extension. So even though he wasn't your hire, that's one extension contract. Now you've got another. You don't get 3 or 4 usually as a GM, right?
Yeah.
So if you feel he's the right one, you got to make sure that you feel okay, because we know what the pressure is in Edmonton. You want to be a very good team. And I'm sure if they don't win a cup in the next 2 years, there'll probably be significant changes, right? But I'm not one who believes, I know a lot of people are, and I get that it's fun, but I don't buy for a second that it's 1 year, right? Because if they don't win next year, I know everyone's saying, Connor McDavid's going to be open for a trade. Maybe. It might be. But if he wants to accept a trade somewhere, do you think he's going to accept the trade to a team that has to give up fair market value for him? How's that going to make that team better? Well, yeah, I'm coming there, but they're giving away pieces A, B, and C, probably D, to get me. So, and hey, Edmonton's never going to win that trade. So let's put it out there. Like, of course not. I'm not saying they want to do it. I'm saying they should. And honestly, if I was Edmonton, I wouldn't do it. I'd say, no, I'll keep Connor for the second year of his deal because I still got a good chance to win. And I believe I have a good chance to win because when he's on my roster, I think I got to doesn't mean I'll win, but I got a much better chance than at least 20 of the other teams in the league.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely, I love the interview. I mean, I would be concerned. They want to win. They're not happy with the direction of the team and some of the, situations that they're, in right now. So, the timeline is running out here. I think that, I think it's important here that, we try to find a way and if you go with the different coaches, who's out there that can it's not the X's and O's. It's the guy that, can relate and, be firm but fair and, has the confidence and, has the confidence regardless of who you are, and that's one thing that I found, my experience in time with the New Jersey Devils. And I thought that was Lou Lamoriello's biggest strength was it didn't matter whether it was me or Marty Brodeur. He went after everyone and anyone, and everyone was fair game. And, and I think that, at least, you're always kind of, I felt on edge and you really kind of had a sense of like, man, I got to be sharp in every game, every practice, every situation, because you don't know, he didn't pick favorites. He had a standard and an expectation, and that was it. And regardless of who you are, you had to kind of to match that. So, but the honesty of what he's saying and his evaluation of where they're, what needs to be done and what he's seeing. I mean, there's no one better that has, knows what's going on are the guys that are actually on the ice.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
and
fair.
so, that's pretty raw, and not a lot of guys share that and share it in that way.
Yeah. So I look at Draisaitl. He's pretty honest about his game. I think he's pretty honest about the team. I think it's great when he says, hey man, I'm concerned. You want to hold the management, the coaches to a level of expectations, as you should be, because they hold the players to it, right? They hold the players to it. So I have no problem with the players holding the coaches and the managers accountable. Right? And if honestly, if I'm the coach and the manager, I would respect, I'd want players to be like, hey, boys, just sit down there, because the coach will tell you what you're doing wrong as a player, right?
Yeah, I just haven't seen it as much done here in Edmonton.
And what he said really was he never got into specifics. He just said our coaching staff has to be better. Well, but anybody watching knows that, right? So if I'm Chris Knobloch, there's two ways, just like in life, like there's two ways to look at it when it's the old adage. Now, I would take criticism from somebody who I'd ask advice for. When you have strangers giving criticism, like why would I care about their opinion? Honestly, I don't know if the guy's educated on the opinion. Like, Bob Six on Twitter. Gregor, you should do this on your show. Well, who the hell is Bob Six on Twitter? Like, the guy used to be a program manager. Well, now we're going to listen, right? If it's Dave in his basement, no offense to Dave in his basement, but I give two squirts. So, if Knobloch listening to random people, I would. But if one of your own players who's in the room and says, hey, coach, like, we got to be better. I think you got to be better in this category. You got to hold it. If one of your star players saying, hey, my defensive game wasn't where it was at, then at some point, now maybe the coach is holding them accountable behind closed doors, as he should be. But at some point, actions speak louder than words. I never saw a reduction in minutes, Brownie. It's the easiest one. It's the easy action speak. I don't need a coach to come in front of the mic and say, Sean Brown, oh my God, the guy's playing brutal. I don't need that.
Yeah.
But you can see Darnell Nurse, Evan Bouchard, Leon, go through the guys who play the most minutes. That's where I start. Right? Because if the guy who plays 9 minutes makes a mistake, all right, I don't love it. But if the guys who are playing 20 minutes are making mistakes repeatedly, well, that's going to impact the game way more overall as a whole. Yes, they make good plays, don't get me wrong. But when I watched the Oilers this year, they were too lackadaisical defensively. Fair?
100%.
Yes.
But is that because Chris, I mean, they had to bring in Coffee to kind of help with the messaging. Was that a miss by Knobloch, kind of evaluating maybe where he was or the pulse of his team? So you bring in some veteran guys. Like
that's what I said. I agree. That's his mistake was at the start of the year when they lost Gulletson and Coffee. They didn't replace him with anybody experienced. Right? McFarland, good young coach, great.
So
they didn't replace him with experience.
So bring someone in that's won and experience. I think it's important that if you want to win, bring someone in that's a proven winner. There's guys out there. Cassidy's the guy.
Yeah, you're big on Cassidy. So
I'm just big on someone that's won. The message is different.
But
what you just said, I'm not going to take advice from a guy that hasn't won.
But what
if you won a Stanley Cup, I'm going to listen to you. If Paul Coffey talks to me, I'm going to listen to
you. So
him.
you're telling me Florida didn't listen to Paul Maurice? Why would they listen to him? He had never won. Right? Honestly, that's why I never loved that only guy, because the funny
Okay, then maybe based on his experience throughout the league. How long has he been in the league?
Yeah, well,
right. He's been in the league a lot longer than any of those coaching staff.
But who's won more games than Chris Knobloch the last 2 years? There's one coach. So he has won a lot recently, right?
Yeah.
He beat Bruce Cassidy. He beat him.
Yeah.
He beat who's the guy in Dallas?
They're just different personalities too, Greg.
I get that, but different personality doesn't necessarily mean it's always better. right? Like,
No, but
would I like to see Knobloch lose his temper once? Yes, I would.
Yeah.
But that doesn't, now I got to go back and look, and there's some coaches that probably never lose their temper outwardly that are good coaches, right? I'd like to see it sometimes, and I think that's fair. So that's where, to me, I look back, and I don't want to fire every player when they have a bad, like, not every player goes good year, good year, good year, good year, good year. Some players have good years, bad year. Now, do you just trade all the guys after one bad year, or do you say, hey, I think he's capable of more? So I look at Chris Knobloch and say, Stanley Cup final, bad year. I'd rather want to give the guy the benefit of the doubt that he could show me that he can be that coach again than just saying, man, you're done. Because I think if you do that, again, you're sending the message to the team, well, you know what? Your guys' inability to play defense consistently, that's okay. It's the coach's fault.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the goalie's fault.
I would have brought in an established guy right away, right from the beginning when they brought in a new coach to begin with. That's when you're that close and you have these types of players, I'm bringing in someone that's won. They speak different, they act different.
But then how come none of those coaches win on their second team?
I mean, you got the stats for that, but
that's what I'm saying, right? Like it's good to say I want to bring in someone who wins, but if your goal is to win, that's actually not the thing to do, funny enough. Because I think how you won the first time on that team, you can't take a lot of the things because, like you look at Mike Keenan when he won in New York. People talk about the fact that it was Messier finally just said, Mike, you shut up. I'm going to run the room because you're being a lunatic and you're going crazy. And guys in New York have said that.
Yeah.
Right. And so he was the coach who won, but he was always emotional everywhere else he won. Right. Paul Maurice had never won anything. He had missed the playoffs more than he ever made the playoffs. But then he got to Florida, right time in his career for the right mix of players, built really good, leadership. And they won. Right.
Yeah.
So they were able to respond. They had a group of guys. Like, I know everybody shows the video of Paul Maurice on the bench. What are you doing? He has a lot of profanities. You hit him. Well, because that was their makeup. You can't go to the Oilers who don't have a ton of physical players and say you pound them every time because that's not who they are.
What do you mean they don't have a ton of physical? They do have physical players. They just don't want to play physical.
But Florida, who doesn't want to play physical? Pod Colson plays physical.
Well, yeah, of course he does. One guy, Frederick, doesn't play physical. Nurse doesn't play physical. And then all of a sudden, a few guys don't.
Okay,
the next guy doesn't feel like he has to.
But Frederick's hits per 60 were just as much. I'm talking the top 9 forwards who played the most minutes in Florida were physical, right? Bennett's physical, Kachuk's physical, Marsh. They had guys who do it, right? And Edmonton, that's not their, and not every team has the same makeup. Right. So that speech worked on that team because they had the guys who could adhere to what the coach said. I guarantee you, and I've had Paul on the show, but he wouldn't say that to a certain group unless you know the group can respond to it. Fair?
I think that everyone can respond to that. Everyone can hit. Some guys can hit harder than others. Yeah. I think that's a message that you could say to the Florida Panthers, or you could say that to the Edmonton Oilers.
But the Panthers played that way all year, though.
If you want to win, they've clearly shown that's how you have to play. You have to have a mixture of skill and physicality.
Yeah.
Right. And the Oilers have all the skill and they got players that can play physical that are just choosing not to play. Like they're inconsistent with it.
Well, I look at if Zach Hyman's healthy, look at the difference that was. Zach Hyman was hitting tons, right? Podkolzin hits tons.
But
Kane was hitting tons.
Everybody has to buy into their role.
Yeah.
And I think there was times that it was very inconsistent when guys did and didn't.
So you blame the coach for that?
Well, obviously it's the players that are playing, but yeah, you got to find the right buttons to push.
Yeah.
Right. There's 82 games. There's 82 games that you can try and find ways to give ice, take away ice. And like all these guys are saying, like, you're up a goal, you're up a couple goals, you're down a couple goals, like there's so many situations through the years or through the year that you can put guys in situations to be successful. So yeah, it's on the coaching. Absolutely.
All right. Quick break. We'll return on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 Oodle Noodle Noodle. Throw the load down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
Looking for a solid 4x4 that checks all the boxes? The 2026 Jeep Compass is in stock now at St. Albert Dodge, and this is a great value, starting from just $36,900. It's a Jeep, so you've got 4x4 capability, plus features like an 8.4-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, active lane management, a park view rear backup camera, and more. Over 30 in stock right now in just about every color you'd want. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
What's that? Is that actually spring? Like no snow squalls or bad weather tomorrow? It's actually spring? Well, GS Construction welcomes the warmer weather because that means we can really get to work. Now, it doesn't matter if there was bad weather. This is our time to shine. But we can't do it without good people to do that work. That's why GS Construction is hiring pipe layers, topmen, and heavy equipment operators. If you want to join a team who loves their work, visit gsconstruction.ca today.
What if you could hire motivated, safety-trained youth with no risk and funding to support you? At Careers the Next Generation, we make hiring easy with funded internships across Alberta in trades, IT, forestry, and more. Interns are WCB covered, complete high school accredited safety trained, and arrive ready to contribute from day one. With 42% of RAP students completing their apprenticeship by age 22, you get skilled workers faster. Spots are filling up. Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
The tents are up and the deals are out. The Brick's biggest sale of the season is on now. Take up to 60% off clearance items in the tents. Sofas start at $399 and save up to 50% on select mattresses. Plus, only until Monday, take until 2030 to pay with 0% interest. Get a sofa, coffee table, mattress, bed frame, and dining set, all for less than $1,500. Only at the Brick's tent sale. OAC, see in store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Sleep is for the off-season. What off-season? Sports 1440 is live, loud, and locked 24/7. Oilers, Elks, Riverhawks, Stingers, Oil Kings. We've got your fix. Edmonton's home for sports is Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also, a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
We continue on. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely, lovely day. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Let's get to Around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. Of course, stop in right now at McDonald's. You can enjoy the $5 McValue meals. Sausage McMuffin small meal, the McDouble small meal for only $5 plus tax. Prices exclude delivery. Only at McDonald's. And tonight, game 2 already between Carolina and Philadelphia. The Hurricanes continue to dominate. And by domination, I mean, like, they don't give up anything. They have played 5 games in the playoffs, and they've given up 5 goals. That was basically a period, every period last night between Colorado and Minnesota. They scored 15 goals, 5 goals each period. 3-2 for Colorado in the first, 3-2 for Minnesota in the second, 4-1 for Colorado in the third. But the Hurricanes, Freddie Anderson, and the Canes are not giving up very much so far in the playoffs. As ace analyst for the Hurricanes, Shane Willis joins us once again. And it's kind of bordering on funny at this point at how little they are giving up, the Hurricanes, through 5 games.
They've been systematically perfect through 5 games. When you go back and watch each one of the games against Ottawa and then the first game against Philadelphia, their system is high pace. It's about taking away time and space and creating stress on defensemen with their forecheck. And anytime the Ottawa Senators or Flyers had the puck on their stick, there was a Hurricane in his face with his stick on the puck, knocking things away and just turning it around. Philadelphia had 4 shots after the first period. One was from the red line that they were dumping into the zone. They just really couldn't generate anything. And the Hurricanes, again, when you look at it systematically, I was listening to you guys before the break when you were talking about Edmonton and playing physical. The Hurricanes have played physical, but never outside of the system and chasing things around. I think that goes back to something I've talked about a lot over the last few days, is the experience that they've learned over the last 7 years and the commitment to all 4 lines playing Rod Brindamore's style and system every single night.
And you speak of physical play, Shane. It's coming from everybody. Taylor Hall has had 2 massive hits so far in the playoffs here. And hey, he was never a shrinking violet by any stretch of imagination, but I don't think people were looking at him to say, okay, he's going to be running around and hammering guys. But that line between him, Stankoven, who has got 6 games, and I think he's like the youngest guy to have 6 goals so far in the playoffs, and Jackson Blake, like that line's been unbelievable for them in every facet.
Yeah, they've been arguably the Hurricanes' best line since the Olympic break. When they came back from that break, it was like they were shot out of a cannon. Taylor Hall, you mentioned, he's back to, Hart Trophy situations and play, the way he's moving around the ice, the quickness, the chemistry that he has with the 2 youngsters. And Jackson Blake, I think when the Hurricanes picked him, knew the high skill level. It was going to be the piece of, can he add muscle? Can he add size to play in these type of situations? And then that was the question going into the playoffs. Can Stankoven and Blake handle the physicality piece of the playoffs? Logan Stankoven scored, I think, 4 of the 5 of his goals right in front of the goaltender, outworking defensemen to get tip-ins, to get rebounds, scoring on the power play. They've done everything for this organization through the first 5 games. Now, on the flip side from the critique, you're going to want some other lines to get going and get on this. But right now, the Stankoven line has been arguably the best line in the playoffs. You could argue for every team, especially this one for the Hurricanes. And you almost go back to the trade deadline day. This was the best non-trade that Eric Tulsky ever made, because everyone was pushing of who are you going to get to play second line center? Well, Logan Stankoven has answered that question with a huge exclamation point in the first 5 games of the playoffs.
Speaking of Stankoven as the second line center, there was a lot of people questioning whether he could do it or not. Why has he succeeded so well at it?
I think his commitment to learn and how hard this young man works on a daily basis. I give him a lot of credit. You guys will have to agree. He's a Western boy, right? Playing in Kamloops, learning the game, learning the grind. But when you watch him at practice, and from day one, when Rod Brindamore told him in training camp, you're going to be a face-off guy, you're going to be my centerman on this line, every day he's at the dot with one of the best face-off guys in the world, and Rod Brindamore teaching him. And he's listening and he's absorbing everything and working extremely hard on the defensive side of the game. The offensive side, with as much skill as these 3 players have, including Stankoven, that's the easy part. But how much he's grown and matured defensively and in the face-off dot is really what jumps off the page to me. And he's put in the work every single day.
And so you talk about someone that's embracing the role. Freddie Anderson seems to be continually stepping up and adding to his game. What can you say about that?
Freddie Anderson, I think, plays so well behind this system. And I think a lot of goalies would argue, like, I want to go play in Carolina. If you're going to face 18, 17 shots a night, I'm in for that. But Freddie kind of jumps off the page as well, because everyone was questioning Freddie Anderson. And I said, why is everyone questioning Freddie? He played strong in the last 2 weeks of the playoffs. And if you remember last season in the playoffs, he was the best goaltender going in to the Eastern Conference Final in the National Hockey League. His stats were at number 1, where he sits again today. So I had a lot of confidence of Freddie going in. Of course, everyone's going to look at his past. Well, can he finally get over the hump? Well, that's the question with this team as a whole. So far through 5 games, Freddie Anderson has done his job. He was really the answer to me in 2 of the 4 games against Ottawa, especially game 1, to kind of get that victory. That was kind of the best chances I felt Ottawa had to score. And he was outstanding in game 1, but he's just settled in. He let in the 1 bad goal in the Ottawa series. What I loved about Freddie's game since then, complete reset. Didn't get drawn into the noise, reset his game, won that one, and never looked back from there on out.
Rick Tocchet afterwards, game 1, said he felt his team was maybe just happy to be there after winning their first series. People didn't expect them to win a series, and they came out flat, and Carolina dominated them. I would expect a little bit better of an effort tonight from Philly. However, the they aren't an offensive juggernaut, right? Like they're not Colorado or even Minnesota by that stretch. So you look at it from a defending standpoint if you're the Hurricanes. Now, you mentioned earlier the Stankoven line really has been carrying them offensively, right? Like the Aho, I know he has 3 goals, but 2 of them were empty netters in one game. The good news is they haven't really needed it. But are you surprised that the Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis line has been so quiet offensively, Shane? And what do you think they have to do better to get scoring?
Yeah, I have. They have had some grade A opportunities. I've liked Svechnikov's game. I think if I was going to be critical, I think Aho and Jarvis have another step to take to kind of create those chances and find the back of the net that's not late in the game. Now, you have to give them credit because as a number one line, they haven't started to cheat the system or cheat the game to try and create that offense and to get on the score sheet. They maintained in the structure, so I love that part of their game. But they do. As the top line on a team, you have to produce, you have to get on the score sheet. And for the Hurricanes, ultimately, to get over that hump in the last few years when you lose to Florida, it comes down to, in my opinion, goal scoring, not the goalie, because you're losing 1-goal games. You're losing 2-goal games. And if you're not scoring, that's where you're going to have to be in trouble. So I think if Stankoven stays hot, Jordan Stahl's line going to chip in with Ehlers at certain moments, but the Aho line has to get things rolling, whether it's 5-on-5 or definitely on the power play. The power play's been okay, but only 2 goals, 2 big goals in the Ottawa series to kind of help win games. But it needs to kind of get on track here tonight against the Flyers, who, as you said, aren't that offensive-minded. Owen Tippett was in the press box last game. I'm not sure if he's going to go tonight. That's their best shooter. So if the Hurricanes can contain the shooters that Philadelphia does have, I think the depth that we've talked about all season has to be the catalyst for the Hurricanes, and that includes Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis.
One last one. You look at Freddie Anderson. He's playing unreal. The only knock criticism on Freddie Anderson is being that at times his availability. They play. Hey, if you sweep every series, it won't be an issue because he plays 4 games and then he gets a week off. But is that something at all, Shane, that would be in the back of their mind if they get into deep series here, that maybe we might be better off to just give him a day off every now and then? What do you think of that?
Yeah, and I think they've really watched Freddie and obviously full conversations with him, whether he's going to practice on an off day or not. We've seen him take some days off to get that extra rest. Does he take pregame skate? But Freddie talked about that all season long, that this is probably the best he's felt in his career when it comes to his health. There's nothing that's nagging or ailing him as he started the playoffs. So I think if he starts 100%, no team is pressed, and you guys know this very well, when they start getting in close, grinding around this, little bumps and bruises. Ottawa tried to push there a little bit to get in his kitchen, but weren't able to get there. And that is always a factor, right? Health is a big concern, whether it's Freddie Anderson or one of your players. I just think Freddie, different mindset, different feeling as this playoff kind of run started. But the Hurricanes and Rod Brind'Amour kind of have assets, right? Pyotr Kochetkov is now fully active. You have Brandon Busty, a guy who won over 30 games this season. So you kind of have some backdrops if there is a bump in the road. But we always talk about this too. Well, should you put the other guy in just to get him a game? Well, no, you just want to keep winning. And I think they're going to ride Freddie as far as they can, as well as he's playing at this moment.
Shane, what are your thoughts on the NHL coming down with Ridley Gregg with the 2-game suspension?
I think it was the right thing to do. Once you review it and see kind of where the line was crossed, something should have been initiated. I'm never the guy in those conversations saying, well, it should have been 2, it should have been 5. There should be something there. I'm all about a scrum. Brownie, the scrums after the whistles, but it just has to be even up. I thought there was, the call after Svechnikov jumped the guy after he hit Nikishin, but then Walker hits Gregg, and Tkachuk gets 3 free shots in, no roughing. I just want a roughing penalty. I don't want you to suspend him or kick him out. Let's just keep everything even keel if we're going to call those scrums. I know the refs are trying to control it, and the guys get out of control at times, but I think it's the right move. Whether it's the length of time, do I agree with or not? That's not up to me, but I think something had to be done with, the line that was crossed with no refs looking. Some guy's already in a headlock, and you take a freebie. We all know he even said it after. I respect he said I have to learn how to control my emotions better. So I think as a player, we know when we've overstepped. So I respected his comments after that and think the league did the right thing in reviewing it, number 1, and then handing out a suspension, number 2.
Shane, enjoy the series, man. Always great to catch up with you. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There you go. That's Shane Willis, analyst for the Carolina Hurricanes. And I don't give Philly much chance. I think I picked the Hurricanes in 5 in that series. I don't think it's going to be close, to be honest.
They just skate. They skate so well,
Yeah.
right? And if you can check, it just comes back to that skating, checking.
Yeah. Like Philly and Pitt, like honestly, I know everybody says the pillow fight division was Pacific. After Carolina, the Metro has a whole lot of nothing. They're going to get out of that very easy. They're going to be well rested to take on either Buffalo or Montreal in the Eastern Conference final.
That's sometimes, and that's kind of a little bit of the key to having success and being able to have a run where, you know, you're playing some quick series, right? The damage on your body is important, and the games you don't play are just as important as the ones that you do play. So if you can have some quick early series, I think it gives you a better chance if your guys are healthy moving forward.
Quick break. We will return on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We're going to get to 5 questions. We got the stats of the day and more coming up.
New at Papa John's, the spinach Alfredo chicken tomato pizza. Say it with me now. Spinach Alfredo sauce, grilled chicken, fresh Roma tomatoes, all on our fresh, never frozen pizza dough. 4 favorites, 1 pizza. So let's run it back. The spinach Alfredo chicken tomato pizza. Right now, a large for just $18.99. Delivery or carry out. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. It feels good to know your fund goes further at home. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense. Get ready for a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band. Monday, November 30th at Silent Ice Center in Nisku. The Gene Simmons Band, performing your favorite classic hits. Monday, November 30th at Silent Ice Center in Nisku. Tickets on sale now at silenticecenter.com. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Cantork has always been a forward-thinking company, but now that we've turned 25, I can't help but take a minute to take a look back. Thank you to everyone that's been with us along the way.
Mr. Rooter gets attacked by a Canada goose.
Oh, look at that. Another on-time arrival. Nothing stops Mr. Rooter from plumbing on schedule. You gotta be kidding me. Hello, Mr. Goose. I'm Mr. Rooter. Okay, this is what you train for. Through rain, sleet, or goose, the pipes get fixed.
For a plumber who does whatever it takes, Mr. Rooter.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
When life unexpectedly changes, it can leave us feeling unbalanced, uncertain, and unsure of how to move forward. But you don't have to go through it alone. I'm Corey Anderson with Fairway Divorce Solutions. Our team helps reestablish balance, guiding you through your divorce with compassion, clarity, and support. Fairway has helped more than 6,500 families across Canada find a path towards a peaceful, fair resolution. With 2 offices in Edmonton, we're here to make your journey easier. Discover your options at Fairway Divorce.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the puck drop special at Papa John's, a large 2-topping pizza and 8-piece wings for only $28.99 with promo code PuckDrop at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.347, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Connor Halley, Sports 1440. Got a lot of texts. Hey, Gregor, who is the player that Stauffer thought could drive a line? He was mentioned Podkolzin, Steve. And I really like Leon's answer. And my personal, I have a real disdain for the term drive a line. Do you know how hard it is to drive a line every night? I think there's maybe 15 forwards in the NHL who are, quote, drivers of a line. Now, you might be able to do it for 2 weeks, get on a hot streak in the playoffs. To do it 82 games a year, or, and even the best players don't drive their line every night. It's hard to do. But I love Podkolzin, but come on, let's have real expectations, man. I think I'll say this about Podkolzin. I won't be surprised if we just see him continue to improve and continue to improve. The number one thing, though, he's got to be on my penalty kill next year. It's not even discussion. I have Podkolzin on my penalty. Why is that guy who works that hard not on the ice more? Simple to me.
Yeah. He's by far the most improved, the most consistent player on the Oilers. And every team needs that, right? Yeah. Every kid could aspire to be that.
And it's just work, though.
Yeah, that's it. No, I know, but you do a lot of drills and everyone's got the apparatuses out and, you're doing McDavid stuff. Well, that's pretty unrealistic, but you can be a Podkolzin.
Let's get to 5 questions right now. 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. We're saving you more. That's what they do. And guess what? The tents are up. And right now at The Brick, you can get a sofa, a coffee table, mattress, bed frame, and a dining set for less than $1,500. Only at The Brick's tent sale begins tomorrow. The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys, we heard Leon Draisaitl earlier today. Many members of the Oilers spoke over the weekend. Did anything stand out to you above the rest?
I guess the honesty of Draisaitl and the fact that defensively he struggled, and just the importance of the regular season, 82 games. It's a build-up, right? And there's plenty of opportunity for guys to earn some rope and some trust and create an identity. But just how important defending is, right from your role players to your top players.
What stood out for me? There wasn't anything that the fact that Draisaitl and McDavid both said that they need to take the regular season a little bit more serious was music to my ears. I think it's embarrassing that this team has not won a regular season division in McDavid's era. You got to have different goals. And your Stanley Cup can be the ultimate goal, but you got to reach other steps to get to that goal. The number one goal for the Oilers should be win the division. And they've never come out and said it. And it's always kind of pissed off me because they have enough talent for it. It's never been discussed. So the fact that they're even discussing it, that is a good sign for me.
Question number 2, in a perfect world or a world where you're running the Oilers, how many new members are on the roster next season?
Players? Is Ike Howard new?
No.
Okay. Then, I'll say new players that weren't on 3. Brownie?
I'll go. Well, there's got to be. Yeah.
Because if you look at their forwards, they've already got 9 guys signed.
Yeah. So Henrique would be one.
No, new players. So you're saying
he's gone.
Okay.
I'd say
yeah.
I'd say he's gone. Lazar, maybe. I don't know what they can do.
Goalie?
Frederick.
Well, he's not going anywhere. Unless they can always trade him. But.
Yeah. Stastny. You got to figure out something with Jari. 4.
Okay.
All right. Question number 3. In your opinion, so only 2 answers here. How hot is the seat for Bowman and Knobloch?
So each individually.
Scale of 1 to 10.
I would say it gets pretty close for both. I would say it's like a 7, maybe 7.5. Yeah.
For both.
Yeah. I think it's equal. I don't think I would look and say, wow, one guy has like done an infinitely better job than the other one at this point. I think they've both done a pretty good job. Like, hey, this year, every part of their organization wasn't good enough. So that's why they're all above a 5 for me as far as the hot seat.
Unfortunately, we see it year after year. I think the coach ultimately takes the fall. So I would have Knobloch a little higher.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, if Bowman's at 7, I would have I'd have Knobloch at a 10.
10.
Red hot.
Oh.
A little hotter.
A little hotter. 10. Can I say 11?
Question number 4. What do you guys think of the hires out in Toronto?
Yeah, I don't know enough of of the GM. I know he's got some experience. Obviously, Matt Sundin, I mean, doesn't have a ton of experience. Loved him as a player. But yeah, it just for the Toronto Maple Leafs, I guess no different than the Oilers. I'm big on, what guys have done in the past and their experience and success. So I guess I would say, considering it's the Maple Leafs, I thought there would be a little bit more of a name, the backing.
Yeah. What do I make of it? It's kind of fascinating where I look and say, former player, a well-respected player, so he's in the one role. It's kind of like what Brent Shanahan was, a little bit different. And then you got Shaika, and I guess he has more experience than Dubas had when Dubas was hired. I don't like the analytics thing. I kind of chuckle at. Like, there's no team in the league that doesn't care about analytics now. Like, so you have a background in analytics, but the thing is, like, was Shaika that great of analytics? I don't know. It's hard to gauge your number in Arizona when your owner won't spend any money, right? So. Could he have been better? We'll never know because he had an owner who didn't want to spend any money. Like, just look at right now, the Utah GM, Bill Armstrong. Look at ever since he got to Utah. Oh, suddenly Sergachev trade, right? Uyghur trade. Peterka, he's bringing in money. He's paying guys out. He could never do that before. So I don't know how good or bad, Chaika's record is on his own merit based on the fact that he was limited in what he could do in acquisition. My concern for Chaika is this. He got busted by doing stuff that you're not supposed to do, that everybody knows you're not supposed to do. You don't ask kids. And it happened right in your backyard, Brown, in Sherwood Park, the Crusaders. They had Arizona scouts coming to ask guys after a game to do workouts. You never do it. It's unfair to players. You don't do, like, that's a cardinal sin you don't do. But they did it under his watch, right? Then they had combine meetings. Not supposed to do it under his watch. Then he had where he was like, you know what? Hey, I get you're unhappy with your job, but he was, while he was GM, was actively trying to get jobs other places. It's really frowned upon.
Really?
Right? So I don't care. Like the analytics stuff, I kind of laugh when people say, oh, people don't like him because of analytics. No, they're not liking him because of the things he did. He cost his organization a second-round pick and a first-round pick. Now, maybe he learned from it, but here's my only concern, and it's a pretty major one. Too often, we want to just give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, think of, now I know it's a very different, but when you're a cheater, in this sense, you're doing anything to win, you're cheating, you're doing stuff that's morally wrong. You're asking young kids, because you don't care about them, because if you cared about them, you would never ask them to do a workout right after the game that they do for the combine. You never do it, Brownie. Right? Like, I remember people telling me, they were like, what is going on here? No one does this. Right? Like, it's just not right. So what's going to stop him from doing it again? Because if he's got the willingness to think, I'm above everybody, I can do it, what's going to stop him from doing it again? And if people that have abuse of power, they repeat it in lots of different ways. Right? You have a guy. You have a guy. I can tell you this. Business owners listen to me, and they'll admit it. You know what? We had Bob over here work for a company. Why'd you get rid of him? Well, geez, you know what? I didn't really like him. Now, guys won't sewer him to death. Some might, but some will say, yeah, you know what? wasn't great, hard to work for. And okay, but I'll still hire him because you know what? He'll be good for me. And it happens all the time. And guess what? You're like, geez, this guy's a real piece of work to work with. Yeah, I told you, but you didn't believe me.
So you don't get a second chance?
Why does he get a second chance after doing nothing in the league? Give him a second chance as an assistant GM, 100%. To bring him back and give him all the power again? Why? So that's where I'm like,
I believe in second chances. I'm saying I would bring in someone with more experience.
A second chance can be an assistant GM job. Work your way back up. So that's to me, like people say, oh yeah, he's ran a Wendy's. Yippee. So what? Chat and Joe are big sponsors. These guys own lots of McDonald's in town. So they should be, that means they're going to be a good GM in hockey. What the hell's the correlation between that? Like, give me a break.
So what do you think if Carolina wins? The analytics is going to go through the roof, right? Because that's
analytics is being around. Like,
no, I know, but if they win, it's going to be like, wow, look at, because they're big on that.
Yeah, sure. But lots of teams are big on it. Like Bill Zito had analytics, but Bill Zito also said, we are going to build one of the toughest teams out there. That's what he did. So there's different ways to win.
Final question, guys. It is May 4th. I feel obligated to ask about your favorite Star Wars movie and character, but in the same topic, is it the best sci-fi movie of all time? And if not, what is?
Star Wars for me, just because it has a special spot, because my son was into it. And, we went to Disneyland and it was pretty cool. They had a setup there where they picked kids from the crowd to kind of go up and kind of play out this scene. And he got picked with that. And just, I spent lots of time. I was never a Star Wars guy growing up, but I spent so much time just watching, different, Clone Wars and Star Wars and all that stuff with my son. So Star Wars for me has kind of got a special spot. I actually have, my son bought me last year the limited edition of the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, they are.
So I have
like a Lego version?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. I haven't put it together just because it's like 3,500 pieces or something like that. So I got to figure out a time where
you got
a setup where I can put that in, but that will be
unreal.
Yeah. So I'm kind of Star Wars always has it.
I love, like, I got Lego and puzzling are like my two things I love doing right now.
Puzzling. I go Lego all the time. I love
puzzling's a challenge though, because you're there and you look at it, you see the pieces, but you're like, the bleep. Because like the Legos gives you the instructions on kind of how to put it together.
Yeah.
Obviously, you couldn't just, magically. Well, maybe someone could. I'm not that smart enough to figure out how to put the Millennium Falcon. Just give me the pieces. I probably couldn't put it together.
Nobody could, yeah.
But the puzzle, the pieces are there. You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
So it's different, right? It's flat surface. It's not building it at a different dimension. So I understand that. But
my wife, we would always do. She likes puzzles herself. So Christmas, she'd do a puzzle, and I do Lego.
Yeah, I love Star Wars, but if I had to say best just sci-fi movie, I might go with Blade Runner. Blade Runner is unreal, man. With Harrison Ford, it is spectacular. I know a lot of people are big on Space Odyssey, like the original one way back. It was before my time. And when I watched it, I just couldn't get into it.
Mm-hmm.
But Blade Runner, I thought was awesome.
I don't know if once again, not the movie guy. Actually, I'm into, you got to watch the Hulk Hogan documentary. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, that's actually, Connor, have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you got to watch it. You got to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
It's great.
I saw the WWE one and they talked about it.
Now, how excited are you about the news on the movie front? That Brokeback Mountain 2 is coming out.
Is it? Oh,
no, it's not. But every time we talk movies, slide that one in there. I still love Wendy. Like, what? Yeah, one of my favorite movies, Brokeback Mountain. Have you even watched it?
Yeah, I love it. I love the look that you gave me and just watching
I was dying.
Myself. That
so
was beautiful.
Funny. Just I couldn't think of another movie. So.
Oh yeah. What do you like?
Yeah, what do you like about it, Rowdy?
Thank you. Phone's lighting.
So that one is
I can't believe you said that.
Almost as funny as Struds being adamant that there is a Godfather 4. Oh my God. That's still, when we talk movie takes, those two are hard to beat. Hard to beat. Even the Italian stallion, Gene Principe, for a moment thought there was, because Struddy was so adamant.
Oh, really?
No, there isn't. I'm like, dude, there is not.
Were you a wrestling fan growing up? I think everyone was back in the day when it was the original.
I was Ultimate Warrior. I was a big Ultimate Warrior guy. Yeah.
Like you would like the documentary because they talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
I like a lot of documentaries.
Yeah.
So was it just called Hulk Hogan? Is it on? Where is it on?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, they go through. I haven't watched it all. I mean, But I like it. It brings you back to your youth when he was kind of coming in, Hulkamania and all that kind of stuff, and then him leaving.
Brutus the Barber Beefcake,
and
all
then the
those
Warrior,
guys.
how he came in and why he came in and how certain guys got a push. And so I think it's kind of the rise and fall a little bit of
So
Hulk
did you get to
Hogan,
the point when he went over to NWO?
Yeah.
Is that in there?
He was great at NWO.
He was
those guys are so good.
He was one of the few guys who went from being like the superstar good guy to being like the superstar villain.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. And so how that all came about, it kind of breaks down that because, a lot of what they do, it seems what I found out in the wrestling ring was kind of feeding off of,
100%.
The fans and stuff like that. So there was a phase where I went through watching wrestling and I was a big fan of it and my buddies and all that. And of course we all tried different moves on each other and stuff. And then it was funny. My dad was not big on us watching TV at all, but he wasn't big on us watching wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, I move out. Who gets in the wrestling? My dad loves wrestling, so I don't like the new, I don't watch it now. And I don't like the new stuff, but the old stuff with the Iron Sheik, the Warrior and King Kong Bundy and John, that was some of the best times.
Oh, dude. I remember when I was young, wrestling used to, we get CBS wrestling. And I only had cable for about a 6-year period of my life when I was young, because we grew up on the farm. We had 3 channels.
Yeah.
And then between grade 3 to grade 9, at the end of grade 8, I should say, I lived in Leduc and we had cable. And I remember probably grade 8, that's when I found out that you could watch wrestling on CBS at midnight. All right. And so there's be times on Saturday night. And so I would either stay up or because it'd be down, I would sneak and I would set my alarm to wake up so I could watch the wrestling.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would tape it, but I don't even think we had a VHS for the first few years. So you'd watch that. But that was because we had Stampede Wrestling and I loved it. I loved Stampede Wrestling. That was my original wrestling for me, right? I probably have better memories of those guys. The Ultimate Warrior I really liked, but I wasn't a huge Hulk fan early on, to be honest. Well, everybody liked Hulk, so I was like, go. And I liked the Ultimate Warrior, the bright colors, and he'd run. I liked his entrance, right? It was just no BS. Boom, I'm right down to the ring. I'm shaking the ropes. I'm going crazy, right? He looked awesome. And so those young years, and then you kind of go wrestling. It's something you can kind of go in and out of. I found in life, it's which is fine. I chuckle at people who get mad at somebody who likes wrestling, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well it's predetermined." You're like, "What? Really? What are you going to tell me next? That I'm bald and I thought I had hair? What?" So
I just thought the storylines back were when we were younger.
More about they would play it out. It was more acting, where then it became more talking.
Yeah,
right. Now I did like The Rock on the mic. I will admit,
He's
right?
So good.
He was good.
Yeah.
Stone Cold Austin, but The Rock, because he said so. You jabroni. His lines were classic. He was really good. So
I went and watched. Actually, I seen Hogan and King Kong Bundy and Maple Leaf Gardens.
Oh,
that was really cool. So my really good friend Chris, growing up, his dad knew Bill Waters and had a connection there. So we always seemed to be able to see the big matches at in Maple Leaf Gardens. That was awesome.
I've never been to wrestling in a huge place. I've been to small venues. I remember I was 10, Edmonton Garden. First time ever. And I remember the old grandmas, you're sitting in the crowd and they're spitting on the wrestlers that are coming in. I was just oh my God. At that time I was 10. I was like, this is legit. They're just spitting on them. What the hell's going on here? It was wild.
You guys have had, I think Kevin's had Spencer Love. Spencer Love has that at the rec room. He's got the amateur wrestling and stuff. And he's invited me to, I think it was actually the last match might've been during the Alzheimer's event. So I missed it, but that's something that I think, would be kind of unique to do with some friends and, that you wouldn't do every day. Would be kind of cool to take that in.
Quick break. Brownie, have yourself a wonderful day. We'll see. So Brownie is on coach change. That's what we found out today. Wants a coaching change, which is fine. So you're saying Bruce Cassidy for sure? That would be.
I don't know. Well, it seems to be. I don't know all the names that are out there off the top of my head, and it's not that I don't think Chris Knobloch obviously is a good coach, but I just feel like there's a little bit of frustration. There's not a lot of time. I'm bringing in. I guess if I'm ever a GM or in a situation, I'm always bringing in guys with, that have been there and done that.
Because if you want a guy who's won, coaches currently that are available from teams that have won would be him in Vegas. Well, we'll see with Craig Berube. Capitals, Trout's probably too old. Mike Sullivan, no. Joe Quenneville, no. He'd be the only guy, really, Unless you think Dan Bilesma is the answer. I'm going to bring back Daryl Sutter.
No.
So yeah, that would probably be the only one.
I think. I mean, I was
unless John Cooper. And the thing about John Cooper is, if I'm Tampa Bay, I'm not getting rid of John Cooper. I think the only reason is if John Cooper does what Paul Maurice did and says, you know what, I just think maybe it's time. These guys need a new voice. Now that was a new voice after a long time.
Exactly. I think he's just been there a while. And maybe, I mean, we've seen the glowing reviews that he had of Connor McDavid. Maybe that relationship, because of that, there's an opportunity that he comes here. I think that would be I'd welcome that.
I will say this. Cassidy's a very smart dude. What does he do? He goes on an interview and says, I'd love the opportunity to coach in a Canadian market and win the Stanley Cup. Yeah. And all the fans in Edmonton and Toronto were like, hire this guy. That's an excellent case of brilliant marketing 101. Bruce Cassidy, I tip my hat to you. We will take a quick break. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Hire Good. For professional property services you can feel good about, get Hire Good. Site cleanup, debris removal, seasonal maintenance, and more. Visit hiregood.ca. Stable jobs, create stable lives at Hire Good.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
2 games tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Flyers and Canes from Raleigh. That one gets going at 5. Carolina leading 1-0. And at 7:30, Golden Knights Ducks game 1 of their series. Off the ice, the Toronto Maple Leafs named John Shaker, and their new GM, and Matt Sundin is the new senior advisor of hockey operations. And Ottawa Senators forward Ridley Gregg is suspended for the first 2 games of next season following his roughing incident with Hurricanes defenseman Sean Walker. In the association, Knicks and Sixers tip off 6 o'clock from New York, and you've also got the Timberwolves heading to San Antonio, take on Wemby and the Spurs at 7:30. Major League Baseball Blue Jays in action this afternoon in Tampa, taking on the Rays. First pitch, 4:40. We'll have that game for you here on Sports 1440 AM feed only. 2 games underway. Rockies, Mets, and Red Sox, Tigers. Both games are scoreless. Later tonight, Guardians in Kansas City. The Astros host the Dodgers. Braves in Seattle. And the Giants taking on the Padres. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll get to the stat of the day. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
New at Papa John's. The spinach Alfredo chicken tomato pizza. Say it with me now. Spinach Alfredo sauce, grilled chicken, fresh Roma tomatoes, all on our fresh, never frozen pizza dough. 4 favorites, 1 pizza. So let's run it back. The spinach Alfredo chicken tomato pizza. Right now, a large for just $18.99. Delivery or carry it. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take 1 for Gene Principe. Hey, thanks for being on time.
I'm always punctual. Now, how about some cool beats while I drop the heat?
Ready when you are.
Tall legacy, tall legacy.
Nice.
Boom! I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's gonna love this for AC season.
What's not to love with no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year?
Are you always like this?
Yep. Unlike Legacy, I never know when to cool it.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
It's like a locker room, minus the smell.
Ew.
Kevin Carius brings the banter, the buzz, and the bold sports talk. Weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Sports 1440, Edmonton's home for sports.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill, still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell, and we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me, GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Canadian Tire's Big Spring Tire Sale is back. Save up to 25% on quality tire brands including Continental, Michelin, Motomaster, and Pirelli until May 21st. Conditions apply. Details online.
Are you overwhelmed by debt and getting non-stop calls from creditors? It can feel like there's no escape. Debt doesn't have to be a life sentence. A single call can turn things around. My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO right here in Edmonton. I can help you become debt-free with a solution just for you. Let's put an end to those calls from creditors together. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
New at Papa John's, the spinach Alfredo chicken tomato pizza. Say it with me now. Spinach Alfredo sauce, grilled chicken, fresh Roma tomatoes, all on our fresh, never frozen pizza dough. 4 favorites, 1 pizza. So let's run it back. The spinach Alfredo chicken tomato pizza. Right now, a large for just $18.99. Delivery or carry out. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
After 4 o'clock, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Hanley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. Hope you have a lovely, lovely day. The NBA and NHL playoffs continue on tonight. The 76ers, fresh off, coming back from a 3-1 deficit over the Celtics. They're in New York, take on the Knicks. And the Timberwolves, who upset the Nuggets, taking on the Spurs. Obviously a much tougher matchup for the Timberwolves in that one. Hey, the Nuggets are good, but I think the Spurs are better for sure. Meanwhile, in the East, you have the Pistons and Cavaliers tomorrow, and then the Lakers and the Thunder. So 1 versus 4 in those games tomorrow night. Tonight is 2-6 and 3 versus 7. So a number 2 seed is out. Number 3 seed is out. And the other favorites are in. So 2 upsets so far in the NBA. The Toronto Raptors yesterday. And actually, we'll get to our stats today. It is the Gregor Show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Where, how about this? Lotto Max tomorrow night, $65 million, 8 Max Millions, and 65 prizes of $100,000. So lots of opportunities to win Lotto Max. Get your tickets, PlayAlberta.ca. As we get to our stats of the day, brought to you by All-Star Construction, founded in 2009. They become the largest contractor in their space, which is land development, power, gas, installation. They shape and build Edmonton communities. That is All-Star Construction. And you look at the stats from yesterday's game. And if you were watching the Raptors game against the not Detroit, I'm getting my Detroit, against the Cavaliers. If you're watching that game early and you're a Raptor fan, you're thinking, hey, guys are playing pretty well. We're looking pretty good. They got a lead, and then did it fall apart? Like, awful. It was brutal. It was painful watching that game down the stretch. They ended up losing 114-102, but they really lost the game in the third quarter. They came out to start the second half, and they got spanked. They gave up 10 points right away. It was awful. It was an awful third quarter, and how you can go from looking that good to just looking that bad, right? In the third quarter alone, RJ Barrett, 1 for 8. Like he just kept doing all their shots. He took 8 shots, right? Sheed was 0 for 3. Scotty Barnes, 1 for 2. So those 3 combined to go 2 for 13 in the third quarter. And it was pretty much good night, Irene. Sheed on the floor, he was minus 20 in the third quarter. Jacoby Walter, minus 19. RJ Barrett, minus 16. And it was just like it sucked, but 12 minutes basically cost them game 7. And, on the other side, while they were struggling, Jared Allen just took over and dominated. He had 14 points in the third quarter. He was plus 19. He's 5 for 7 from for field goals, and he got to the line 8 times. He's only 50%, but still. And he had 10 boards in 1 quarter. I don't know, Connor, if you were watching that, but it was amazing to me to see how in 1 quarter they won the whole game. 1 12-minute stretch. They completely switched the whole feel of that game was done. It was tied at halftime, and then it was good night, Irene, in the third quarter. Now, the other stats yesterday, if you were looking for excitement, in the history of the NHL playoff, if you go back and you look at all-time games, there is not many teams in the history of the NHL that score 15 goals combined between the two teams in one game. Right now, the Oilers had 16 when they beat up. They actually hold the NHL record for 18 when them and the Kings played to a 10-8 game. But they also had 16 against the Kings in 1987. It was a 13-3 win, so a little bit lopsided, to say the least. The Penguins and the Flyers in 1989 had 17 goals, 10-7 Pittsburgh win. And then I mentioned the Oilers and LA 10-8. That's it. But if you look at those games, last night there was 5 goals in every period. And even when the Oilers scored 16, they didn't have 5 goals in every period. When the Penguins and the Flyers back in 1989, they did have 5 goals in every period. That's when Lemieux and Pelle Eklund, if you remember, Flyers fans, blast from the past. But really in the salary cap era, no team has come close to scoring like that many goals between those two teams. And there was 5 goals every period. So if you were looking for excitement, it was 3-2 Colorado. They went up 3-0. Then the Wild scored twice. Then the Wild outscored the Avs 3-2 in the second. It's 5-5, and you're thinking, here we go. But then Colorado took over in the third period with outscoring them 4-1, including 1 empty netter. Cale Makar, who got injured in the first, only played about $110 of the first period, left, came back, and he was dynamite in the second and third. But if you watched that game last night, you saw something that just doesn't happen very often in the NHL. It's nice to see, like the Oilers and the Avs back in 2022. So if we're going only in the salary cap era, the only other game that was 9-6, Connor Halley, or 15 goals, do you remember?
No, I don't.
The Calgary Flames, Edmonton Oilers, 2022. Remember that one? Game 1?
Game 1?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That was a wild game. And so that was the Oilers had the 9-6 game against the Flames, and they had the 8-6 game against the Avs in the next round. It was wild. So that's a lot of goals to give up, a lot of goals to score. But 15-15, that is the most goals in the salary cap era are the 2 9-6 games. So Edmonton and Calgary, Colorado, and Minnesota. And if you go back and you remember that Oilers game back on May, I don't know the date, 16th, 18th, something like that. Remember the Flames jumped out to a 3-0 lead, just like Colorado did. Then the Oilers scored. Then the Flames scored again. Like the Flames led, I think at one point it was like 6-2. Then Edmonton scored 4 in a row. Remember they tied the game early in the third period? I think it was Yamamoto. Cons, you might want to look that up, but I think it was Yamamoto who scored early in the third. Like I'm talking like was in that first shift or second shift, like $1:20 into the game. I remember that because at the Saddledome, Tom Gazzola and I were sitting up in the presser up in like the highest press box ever. Like you're up in Calgary, man, you need binoculars to see from up there. Although Edmonton's not much better, but it's pretty high in Calgary. And you're just like, what kind of game are we watching? And the other thing I remember from that game, it started at like 8:50. Brutal, but it was a great game. Obviously the Flames won, but then Edmonton won the next 4 straight. And what's unique about that is if you go to Colorado's goaltending and now you look at the numbers, right? Scott Wedgwood, even after that game, Connor Halley, where he gave up 6 goals last night, his goals against average is still 2.15 and his save percentage is still .920. So even one game for him, it didn't ruin his numbers that much. Meanwhile, on the other side for Wallstedt, he's still at a 2.81 goals against and a .903 save percentage. Just shows you how good. And he gave up 8 goals. And he still got a save percentage over 900 after last night. So it shows you just how good both of those goalies were. Remember we talked about it going in the 2 W's? Wellwood, Wallstedt? Well, for one game, they were both leaky. So I'll be curious to see what happens in game 2 between them. Meanwhile, the Carolina Hurricanes, they're playing again tonight, averaging 1 goal against so far in the postseason. The next closest team who's still playing is Colorado. They've allowed 11 in their 5 games. Buffalo has allowed 12 and 6. So technically, I'd say the Sabres are the next closest because they're at 2 goals against per game. Same with the Flyers, and they're down. They just lost game 1, and they've still only allowed 2 goals against. So the Eastern Conference, not a lot, not as many goals being scored out in the East compared to the West. And that's why I still look at the West, and I know that, hey, Oilers fans, you had to read it. And McDavid wasn't false about calling it the pillow fight division because no one was ever really grabbing it. But I look at Carolina, and after them, there's not a lot of teams where I look and say, oh, geez, that's a really tough division in the Metro. But the Hurricanes, Sabres, and Montreal, both teams come in. Montreal's got a 2.14 goals against. The Sabres are at 2. Will we see some offense in that series? We'll see. But it starts on Wednesday, in case you're wondering. So there's a few stats of the day. The Hurricanes honestly, do you even consider, can Philly score 2 goals tonight? It's kind of wild to say, there's no chance they score 3, is there? I don't know. It's been a pretty dominant playoffs defensively so far for the Carolina Hurricanes, and it's wild that Ottawa couldn't score. And Philly, same thing. So they've had 2 shutouts. They've had as many games giving up 2 goals as they had games giving up no goals. I know it's only 5, but still, that is a pretty good start for them. One final question for you. When you look at, I was looking up some stats over the last 5 years. And because I saw a lot of people, Edmonton, geez, they're done. And I'm kind of like, are they? I'll be honest, that surprises me how many people have written off the Oilers. Their windows, I always hate that term, by the way, windows closed. What the hell does that even mean? But nonetheless, you look at how long a quote window, when you got McDavid and Draisaitl, to me, the window's still open. Does Edmonton have to improve? Yes. They know they have to improve. They got to improve defensively, who's ever coming back. I think their coaching staff has to improve. Their management has to improve. Goaltending, everything. Special teams, well, not special teams. Penalty kill, power play's fine. Penalty kill's got to improve. But over the last 5 years, the Edmonton Oilers have played the most games of any team in the National Hockey League. And even if Carolina makes it all the way to the Stanley Cup final, and they would have to play, well, the most games they can play now is 20 more games. 7 games in the Cup final, 7 games Eastern Conference final, 6 the rest of this series. So even if they did that, they'd still only, they'd finish with 80 games. So still below the Oilers, 81. The other interesting thing about the whole thing for the Oilers is their shutouts per game. Only teams who have played more than 10 games, because Philadelphia had 2 shutouts and they played 7 games, so theirs is higher right now. But when you look at it, the only team with more shutouts per game is Carolina. They have 5 in 60. The Oilers have 6 in 81. Same with the Panthers, also had 6. And it's kind of wild. Now, the Oilers, they can be a little feast or famine, but it shows you that when they want to commit to defense, they can actually do it pretty well. but can they do it on a night-to-night basis? Sadly, we won't know the answer to that question until next year. And one final number for you. The Oilers said they actually care about the regular season. That should be the number that you matter the most. Can the Edmonton Oilers win the division? I'm going to say it right now, Connor, on May 4th. The Oilers will win their division next year. They finally realize that this regular season matters. They'll win it next year, and the slump ends. We'll return on the Gregor Show.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit? No credit? We got you. Text check to 780-777-7777. That's check to 780-all-7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design, build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. Properties include the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku, features 2 sheets of ice, a 1,600-seat arena, as well as Summit Restaurant. Learn more at silentice.com.
Jason Gregor isn't just a sports guy. He's a community builder with over $3 million raised for local charities. And his Gregor Foundation, he's making a difference on and off the air. Check out Gregor weekday afternoons on Sports 1440.
Hold on to your hockey helmets, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 69-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot. And Molson Canadian and Coors Light for $5.75. Plus, OTR's TVs are so clear, you'll see the puck better than the ref.
That ain't hard, is it?
Score and win every game night during Edmonton's playoff run with specials starting 30 minutes before puck drop and last for the whole game. Be a part of the legend. See the menu at ontherocks.yeg.com.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
The tents are up and the deals are out. The Brick's biggest sale of the season is on now. Take up to 60% off clearance items in the tents. Sofas start at $399 and save up to 50% on select mattresses. Plus, only until Monday, take until 2030 to pay with 0% interest. Get a sofa, coffee table, mattress, bed frame, and dining set, all for less than $1,500. Only at the Brick's tent sale. OAC, see in-store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
My ultimate dinner hack for busy weeknights is Catch of the Week. I used to think a great meal meant hours in the kitchen. Not anymore. I grab fresh fish, get simple instructions, and have an incredible dinner on the table in minutes. Their ready-made meals are a lifesaver, too. It's real food, it's fast, and it makes you feel like you've actually got your life together. They're just 5 minutes from Sherwood Park, but worth the drive from anywhere. Stop thinking about dinner and just go to Catch of the Week.
Visit catchoftheweekedmonton.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by UL, helping you finish your electrical project is their goal. From pot lights to electrical panels, the gear you need is at ul.ca or in person at one of their Edmonton area locations. ul.ca, your partners in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.432, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halling, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. The deck man is over there. Be sure to give him a thumbs up. Get in the chat over at our YouTube or Facebook pages. Always appreciate you watching the show or listening, however you consume it. That is fantastic. Some of you who wait till later in the night, you're listening on the pod. Hello to you a little bit later on in your evening. Of course, NHL, NBA playoffs continuing on. The Jays, who split the series against Minnesota. They haven't lost a series in 4 in a row, so that is progress for them. And Okamoto is really starting to heat up at the plate, man. He hit some monster bombs over the weekend. The Jays are now on the road tonight in Tampa Bay. But the big story in Toronto, of course, today was their new GM. They're bringing back Matt Sundin as well in a management role, and we will talk about it as we get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Spruce Grove Saints. And if you're looking for exciting camps for kids, go to sgsaints.ca, as they have awesome opportunities all summer long. So check it out, sgsaints.ca. As we welcome in to talk things all Toronto from Leafs Morning Take, as well as NHL Fantasy from the Nation Network. Nick Alberga joins us. Nick, my man, how you doing?
I'm good. That was an inspiring day in Toronto, wasn't it?
So you're close to it. What's the biggest difference in Shaika to Dubas for you?
Well, one guy's got experience, one doesn't. I mean, to start, obviously, Dubas is a guy who had the experience of working for a long, long time in Toronto, had the tutelage of Lou Lamoriello, and I don't know exactly.
When he took over, he had but Shaika has, I guess, some experience, but their philosophies, are they similar, different? What do you think?
Honestly, I can't speak to that. I'm not, big in that realm, if you will, when it comes to analytics. I could say that I have come around a lot over the last little while, especially under the Brad Treliving administration, where I'm certainly open to new philosophies, outside the box type approach. But I think the big issue here, Jason, is that, he hasn't been in the league in 6 years. There's been 20 plus GMs hired in that time frame. And it's like, okay, the Leafs think they're smarter than everybody else. And here's their answer is John Chaika. I think there was a lot of examples of people within that realm, if you will, that could have definitely helped the situation out. But it's more my curiosity as to how things landed on John Chaika. And quite frankly, they barely gave an answer to that today.
Yeah. Well, that was now I didn't watch the whole press because I had to run. I watched majority of it. And so I was kind of well, he didn't really answer the question. Why, what was it about Shaika? So there was no point in the press conference that they gave you a definite reason as what they liked about him?
It was more like the way he conducted himself. So that was a question posed early on, and you have many press conferences in your day, know the type of questioning, the line of questioning that should be asked. And I thought the Toronto media did a pretty good job with that. I wasn't there, but he said he was impressed by his vision, did Pelly. He said he conducted an extensive due diligence on the background. Sure, he did. He called him methodical and measured, and he thinks that combined with Matt Sundin, they'll be a really strong team. So as most executives do, he sort of danced around the question. Ultimately, how in the hell did you get to John Chaika? There was nobody else that was part of the process that could have made more sense and caused a bit more backlash or less backlash. That's my line of questioning.
And Matt Sundin, he's senior advisor. What's his role here? What does that mean?
Well, that's exactly it. I think we're trying to determine, how much of a say Matt Sundin has in this whole process. In fact, I thought it was rather interesting in the press conference, Greg's I think Sundin found out during the press conference, if you can believe it, that he's going to be reporting to John Chaika, because the direct quote is, I don't think Matts knew what his title was going to be until he got the contract, which is Pretty crazy. And then it just speaks to the general manager of hockey operations now, John Chaika. But I don't want to call him a figurehead, but I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Matt Sundin does not have prior history in this type of role. I think what they're going to lean on is words like culture and pride and tap into what it means truly to be a Toronto Maple Leafs. The relationship is there. Obviously, he knows some of the greats, some of the better players in this team. He's Swedish, so he knows Nylander, Austin Matthews, the comps there with Ty Domi and Max Domi. So like, it's a lot like rah. That's my impression, and it's also, I think he'll have some say when things are presented, like contracts and players in play and stuff like that. But you're so right. Like, there's reasons to wonder what exactly this means bringing in Matt Sundin.
Nick Alberga joins us. So you look at John Chaika, and he comes into a team like this is, Toronto's in a tough position here right now because they didn't make the playoffs this year. They lost one of their best players last year in Mitch Marner. And, like John Tavares had an unreal year. Matthews is hurt, unfortunately. Nylander had a decent year, I think, but probably a little bit below his standard. But they still have their same problem. Their back end isn't good enough. And, I guess maybe Darren Radish, but there's not a long list of free agent defensemen. So what whether it's Scheik or any GM, I think you're coming into a tough spot. Like, you have an organization who will spend money. That's not a problem. But just because you have money to spend, if there's no really good players to spend it on, it doesn't really help you. So how do you think they improve their blue line?
Well, it's really confusing. To your point, bigger picture, how much better can you make this team than they were this season? And that was one of the worst teams in the NHL. Of course, maybe you save them a couple spots. They're probably like a middling team that's scratching and clawing for a playoff spot. And I couldn't agree with you more. And that was one of the questions I had for today's press conference. Surprise, surprise. They danced around it. They barely gave an answer. It's leaning towards a retool and not a rebuild. And that's right from the wording of Keith Pelly when he spoke a month ago when Brad Treliving was relieved of his duties. And it just strikes me more as a measure to save face, keep a job, as opposed to the long-term aspect and how they view this franchise. But I don't know how John Chaika in the short term is going to find a way to solidify this roster. You just talked about free agency. Well, there's not much available. If there is, you're going to be scratching and clawing with other teams for these guys and probably bidding up in the process. Number two, they have no assets to trade. Yeah. And especially given everything we found out in the last couple of weeks, it doesn't sound like they're going to be open to dealing Austin Matthews or William Nylander, arguably your two biggest trade chips. I hope they don't circle back on Matthew Nyes. And that's getting me to the greater point where I think it would make more sense if I were running the operation, which I'm not, is to look at this and think maybe a couple years down the road as opposed to right now. Like, I think the best route would be accumulating some assets over the next little while. And unfortunately, I don't think they're going to head that direction. So like, that's the interesting nature of all of this is how do you improve your roster when A, free agency is junk, and B, you don't really have much to give up in trades. And on top of that, every team knows that you're going to be desperate too, right?
Yeah. Well, like it's a tough spot. I don't care who the GM is. That's like, to me, I think it's a real difficult spot to be in because, even if you get Matthews and Nylander healthy, that obviously is going to help your team. There's no question about it. They're good players. And so where do you come out on Matthews? How concerning is it? Because if I go to NHL Edge and I look at his shot velocity, every year it's gone down. Right. And so we know that he's had wrist and shoulder issues here. Is there any concern here that Matthews is not going to get back? Like, he's still a good shooter, don't get me wrong. But when you start losing, half a mile here, half a mile there, like that can add up all of a sudden for a guy whose shot is probably his best asset.
It really annoys me in this market because people want to bury the story, and I've tried to the last couple of years since he scored 69 goals a long, long time ago, it seems at this point, since he went to Germany randomly during the season. Granted, to a degree, you guys saw it as well in Edmonton this year as well. But, I mean, it's no secret that this is not the same Austin Matthews, and I understand age catches up to everybody, but there's been a lot of wear and tear on the player. And I think if you come to the realization that this guy's a glorified Phil Deneau, I think you're in big time trouble. But I think it's no secret, what the common ingredient there is. And that's Craig Berube. Like, that's why I wonder about his future. And it was something I wanted to find out more today. And they really were very mum and vague on that front too, is like, where does Craig Berube fit in all this? And, the consensus seems that Berube, Greg's, is going to come back because he's got 2 years left at $4 million per season. But if you have an analytically driven team spearheaded by John Chaika, we know the antithesis of that is pretty much Craig Berube. It just doesn't make sense to fit. And on top of that, I think right now you probably have to try to cater to the game and the way it's being played right now from your top players. And I just wonder from that standpoint if it's taken away a bit from Nylander and Matthews under Craig Berube. But I mean, it's no secret. It has not been the same Austin Matthews. He probably had a good 10 to 12 game pocket this season where people started to wonder, is this guy back? Is he back? And then just right back into the guy that he's been for the most part of the last couple of years. Still a really good player, but not like top to top.
Yeah. Well, no, he hasn't been, for a few years. People still talk, oh, well, he's the best goal scorer in the game. I'm like, no, he isn't, because he's not in
anymore.
The game often enough, right? And that's the challenge for him is to remain healthy. Now, and the other one is, because I've seen a lot, and I know you've talked about it, like there's a lot of people that wonder, was a mistake in Toronto that they gave their core guys everything right up front, right? And so you can't necessarily walk it back, but do you think there's a change at all in the philosophy of how they're going to move things forward? Or is it too late to do that with those guys there?
I think it's too late. And I think Brad Treliving, I know he gets a lot of heat, and understandably so, for those two terrible trades, and obviously were fireable offenses. And that's obviously why he got the gate in Toronto. But I think he was a really good negotiator. I think you look at some of the contracts he delved out in his time were pretty decent compared to like the Dubas administration. But I think the precedents they set early on set the table for all this lack of culture and pride and every buzz, phrase, and word you want to use in this market. Like, I think Montreal is a prime example, and people like to draw parallels to Toronto early on in the Marner Matthews era. But I think the difference is Montreal has their guys signed long-term, and they sort of set a barometer like, hey, nobody's getting above this. And I know Dobson's a bit different, but the salary cap's going up. But all those guys are tied in at really, really good prices. And I think it sets a standard for how you're going to run that operation. And I think it comes down to leadership, something that just wasn't there up above, the last decade, whether it's Shanahan, whether it's Kyle Dubas. And I think right now they're paying for it. But I'm very curious in that aspect, how things are ran from that standpoint, because I think are gone are the days in Toronto specifically where you're going to make every wake and move on sort of Austin Matthews and what he's thinking. You got to look past that at this point.
So you mentioned Matthew Nyes. Oh God, I would assume they wouldn't trade him. But what's interesting about the Leafs is the one thing about their organization is at times they didn't seem to value kind of like I look at Zach Hyman, I'm still floored that he was able to walk and he walked for $5.5 million. It wasn't like that he was offering $8 million somewhere else, right? It was a $5 million player at that time. So like, do they really know what they have in Nyes here? Or do you sense this an organization still doesn't necessarily value a guy like that who does a lot of the dirty work that sometimes doesn't show up in the goal, assist, and point category?
In short, I really hope they do. And I think ultimately this is going to come down to Keith Pelly and how much of a say he has. Again, he comes out today and says, hey, here's my general manager of hockey operations. That's a new title for the hockey world. And here's Matt Sundin. He's an executive, a senior executive advisor. Like, what exactly does that mean? But I think you have to look at the nucleus, how you reimagine things. I think the big guy to look for this summer is Morgan Riley. I think anybody could conclude it's just time to move off that player and that file and that price tag and try to find a way to do that. And I think to your question, Matthew Nyes is a guy I'm building around. Like Jay Rosehill on my show a couple of years back, even when Nyes was fresh and green, called him a future captain material of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I still feel that way. I know he had a disappointing year, but point-wise, his production was actually up. He obviously played a lot more in the top six this year with Mitch Marner now with the Vegas Golden Knights. But I think to your point, it's the perfect example of a player that you need in the mix who I think the contract, another really good contract delved out. I think it's like a 6-year deal at 6.75 around there or 7.75. So pretty decent value. I think that's livable, especially in this economy with the salary cap going up and all that. But it just concerns me because his name was floated around there at the deadline. We know Keith Pelly was involved in the trade deadline process, threw out names like Buffalo and Montreal. And that'd be the cherry on top to all this, if they deal Matthew Nyes inside the division too. This guy's an untouchable for me. He should be.
Yeah, well, we were caught off guard. I'm like, what? That is one of the funniest comments I'd ever heard. We're caught off guard, but you mean young teams improving? I can't believe that. We've never seen that before. It's so strange. Now, going back to Riley. So if you move him, he still plays the most minutes on their back end, right? Like, you got to get a defenseman back for him, don't you?
Yeah, so that was a big thing I drew, and again, there was a lot to read into today, like what Chaika's looking for, and it's good to hear that he's looking for mobile puck-moving defensemen like the rest of the NHL. So, again, I don't know how he's going to do that. Obviously, you want to get bigger on the back end too, but you're right. So you want to take Riley out of the equation. Well, who are you bringing in now? Automatically, because he's a Toronto native, people look at Darren Radish. I think that is a slippery slope if you're the Maple Leafs, because Darren Radish is in a position where he gets a chance at his first and only payday in the NHL, and he'll probably go to the highest bidder here. And if you're the Maple Leafs, you're not in a position where you want to get involved in a guy like, he's a relative unknown. Like, John Cooper worked wonders. Obviously, Hedman wasn't really in the mix this season, and Darren Radish, like a perfect example. Like, I wonder truly how much money this guy made with the season he had, the breakout campaign, but he's into his 30s. It just shows you that there's not much out there. And I think that's a really, really good point that, yeah, you want to move Riley out, but who are you bringing in to fit that? I currently on the team, I think Oliver Ekman-Larsson had a pretty strong year. I don't know if he's going to be that guy, but they're going to have to be very, very creative with, guys they take out of this roster and guys they bring in. But as we mentioned earlier on, nobody's going to be out there just saying, hey, John, we'll help you out. We want to make the Maple Leafs better too, right?
No, it's never going to be that easy. So I'm fascinated to see what they do. And lastly, Nick, who in the organization, who is the one that's going to be wearing the lucky socks or the lucky shirt or the lucky hat for draft day tomorrow for Toronto?
Yeah, I wonder the turnaround's going to be quick, and I don't know what it's going to look like, but you would have to think, like, I've been phrasing this all day, but I've done a bunch of hits. Like, people will laugh, but this is a massive day for the Toronto Maple Leafs in terms of setting the tone for the new administration. Like, this team needs a win desperately. It's been a disappointing season, blow after blow. Then Treliving gets fired, even the repercussions of everything involved and what's on the line tomorrow night if the Maple Leafs don't secure a top 5 pick. But yeah, it's funny, for a random day in May with the Maple Leafs not in the playoffs, the stress level is going to be at an all-time high tomorrow. And with bated breath, we watch to find out if they're going to secure a top 5 pick or on national TV. Are they going to hand over a really, really sexy draft pick to the Boston Bruins, who, by the way, made the playoffs this year? So yes, that'll be a lot of fun.
So yeah, if the Leafs pick 6th or higher, like higher 6, 7, 8, 9, it goes to Boston, correct?
Yeah, so the numbers are not pretty. So they finished 5th worst in the league. I believe they have a 41% chance around there that they actually don't secure the top 5 picks. So it's not in their favor. It's scary stuff. It is scary stuff. And it just speaks to, like I said this earlier on, I don't know if you'd agree or disagree. I do think along the way there are some fireable offenses. And I think GMing is a difficult job in headmenting franchises. Like those 2 trades, the Lawton trade, and obviously the Brandon Carlo trade, and I can correlate it to you guys in Edmonton. Like, Stan Bowman should be on the hot seat for the Tristan Jarry trade. Plain and simple. There are deals you make that could cost you your job, and ultimately you look at moves like that.
Yeah, well, it'll be, man, you give up that trade. It's basically like the Phil Kessel trade all over again, just a few years later. So,
yep.
And you got a worse player in Brandon Carlo. So, yikes. Nick, great stuff, buddy. We appreciate it. Have an awesome day.
My pleasure. Take care.
There you go. That's Nick Alberga joining us from Toronto. So, that could be ugly. Like, could you imagine? Now, if it's a 6th pick, whatever, it's still a 6th pick. Like, you can get a pretty good player at 6. So they have to hope that, and the thing is, though, because of how the draft lottery works, right? Remember, it's not just one time. There's multiple. So they could go 5th. And if somebody all it takes is one person from 6 to 12 to win that draft lottery and move up. And they drop from 5th to 6th, and now they're giving up a 1st-round pick. So that is a wild. It's not just who wins the lottery tomorrow. That's an excellent sidebar to watch for if you like a little drama. Take a quick break. We'll return. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
And a deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or on the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
a double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value for a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Why should you drive a Subaru? How about durability, style, and an excellent customer experience from the moment you step into the showroom? And how about accolades, including awards for numerous 2026 Subaru models from both AutoTrader and JD Power? But don't just take my word for it. Take a test drive and you'll see why the Subaru name is recognized and renowned for quality. To learn more, visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Oh, baby, not a good start on a Monday for the Jays. Down 3 Cobb in the first inning. Oof. Nice. Connor Halley's throwing pens in the studio. Oh, it's a good time. It's a good time. We got a lot of texts flying in. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, do you honestly think there's a better coach available than Knobloch? Well, better's hard to define, honestly. Right? Bruce Cassidy he's won a Stanley Cup. Right? And so he's been 2 Stanley Cup finals. Right? Lost one, won one. So is he better than Knobloch? Maybe in some ways. But I can't guarantee it. Right? Like, you don't know. So, like, I look at Chris Knobloch, and I try to put a coaching career in the same boat as a player career. Right? So Chris Knobloch came in first year, boom. Like, the Oilers, look at the changes under Knobloch initially. Very successful. They lowered their goals against average. Stuart Skinner was top 7 in goals against, save percentage, and goals saved above expected. Top 7. And people thought he was a terrible goalie. He was top 7 for 50 starts out of those 69 games. And then they went to the Stanley Cup final that year. Right, their penalty kill was brutal when he took over. They went up to 81%, and then obviously they had the crazy playoffs. Then the next year, goes to the Stanley Cup final again. They switch some guys out. Obviously, he's the coach. He's, has some say, not a massive amount of say, some for sure. Then they go to the Cup final again. Now they make some changes again, and they make the playoffs, losing the first round. I think Chris Knobloch this past season is what I would equate to. So if you have a young player comes in and he scores 35 goals, really good, right? Like, I'm not going to say he's a 50-goal scorer as a coach, right? Let's just say 35-goal scorer. Pretty damn good. I think he did a lot of things. He did way more things right than wrong to go to 2 Stanley Cup finals. And then he kind of had a bad year, right? Scored like 21 goals, 22 goals. Not a terrible year, but not as good as the previous few years. Now, would you all of a sudden say, I'm trading that guy, I'm just going to get rid of him? Or just say, okay, what went wrong? How can we balance it and work at it? And that's kind of what I look at as for coaching. I think, if I look at Chris Knobloch, the number one thing I don't think he didn't set the tone early this year when the team was struggling as bad as they were struggling. Now, maybe it's the compounded emotional trauma of losing back-to-back cups that does wear on you. And that's something that's different than other teams have to deal with. Right? Like, you can talk all you want and be positive in the room to the guys, but trust me, for a lot of those players, like, that's heartbreaking. Right? That's your dream. You got really close, and both times gone. So emotionally, now it's October. You're like, oh my God, we got to go through 82 games. We'll get there. We're good. Right? Because I think if there's one thing everyone in the organization was a little guilty of, and I even think I'll put myself in that category, someone who thought, the Oilers will eventually hit their stride. Because that's what they've done before. They didn't ever reach the level they are capable of. But I don't think it's because they have way less talent than they had last year. Right? I know, hey, if you want to say the 2024 team was their best team, okay. But you know what also? It was their healthiest. Right? And that plays a factor. No question. That plays a factor. And like this year, McDavid, Draisaitl, Dickinson, Henrique, all four centers hurt. Right? All four of them. So it's really hard to get an accurate evaluation of how good the team was. Probably not good enough to win the cup. That's valid. I could understand you saying that because they hadn't shown it all year long. And that was the one thing. They had never found the consistency they wanted. And during that, so that's where I think the coach failed, was there was a time when you would have had to crack the whip and send a message. And a strong message, and not just sitting out Trent Frederick or sitting out Curtis Lazar or sitting out Spencer Stastny. That doesn't do it for me. You would have had to send a strong message to some of your top dogs. Now, he felt it wasn't the right time, right? He felt it wasn't the right time. And that's his prerogative. But it's okay to say, hey, you know what? I'd be willing to give him another opportunity. Because I don't, like, when they lost, what did he do so he doesn't have any of his centers. Two of his centers that are playing have fractures. Like, what was the coach supposed to do that was better? Honest question. What do you think he could have done coaching-wise? Now, I do think the penalty kill. Now, I know that Mark Stewart runs the penalty kill, but everybody has a say in it. I'm not going to just blame the one guy, but he's going to get the majority of the blame. He's also a guy that lost his job as the defensive coach. Right? They brought Paul Coffey back. So they promoted him and then basically demoted him in that role. I don't know how he could come back. So I think that's one change on the coaching staff. Now, maybe they'll fire the head coach. It's possible. Like, Bruce Cassidy, could he be better? He might. I can't say for certain he would, but I can't say for certain he wouldn't. I don't really know. Right? He has a tendency to maybe be a little bit more demanding on players, at least publicly. And so maybe he can get him to do it. And maybe you can't walk it back with Knobloch. Maybe you just can't. I don't know. Like, I don't think he's going to change his personality and suddenly we're going to see him on the bench freaking out. But could he do it once? Right? Like, this was a guy, like, Chris Knobloch's not a shrinking violet. Blair St. Martin, his own teammate, right, injured him the year before. They got to training camp the next year. He fought him because he was that pissed off about it, right? In their own team, right? Head-to-head, did pretty well. Actually, I think he beat him. So it's not like he doesn't have fire. But as a coach, he's a pretty calm guy outwardly, right? He doesn't show it. You see, and so I can understand, because sometimes you'd be like, man, I think players, you need it every now and then to know the coach has your back. Right? And I know that doesn't always happen, but some point, if the ref's screwing you over and it's a December game, and you know what, you guys have it's not going right, wouldn't that be a time to just do it once? Now, that doesn't mean it's going to suddenly win a Stanley Cup for you. I just wonder if that's a small thing. I would also, if I'm Knobloch, there would have to be some changes. Like if I'm Stan Bowman, I sit down at the end of the year and I'm going to evaluate the coach the same way I evaluate the players. So what can we do different? Right? What can we do different? Like, I'm sorry. This idea of playing Draisaitl and McDavid together, WTF? What are you talking about? Right? What are you talking about? I don't believe that that's the right decision at all. Right? Because first of all, if you're going to say, well, it worked in 2024, Nugent Hopkins is 2 years older now. He'll be 3 years older. It's 2027 when you go to the Cup. No chance he's a second-line center at this point. So who's going to be your second-line center? Where are you going to get one? Right? I don't think Jason Dickinson's a second-line center. So I don't like that idea at all. Like, at all. The Oilers are better if you have McDavid running. You know what you do? You just don't play him on the penalty kill. That's how you lower their minutes. Pretty simple. And you know what? In some games, when the fourth line has a great energy shift and they get the puck down low, maybe they can stay out for the odd offensive zone faceoff. Right? Like there's ways to do things like that. But man, I heard that coming in multiple places on Saturday and my ears perked up. I'm like, what? You think the strategy is to play McDavid and Draisaitl regular together all year next year? What are we doing? That would be the biggest step back. And so Knobloch was the one guy who kind of pushed back on that, which is why I'd be like, you know what? I think I want to keep that guy. Because if other people in the organization think Draisaitl and McDavid together is the path to victory, what the hell are we doing? You need two good lines to win. This is a fact. Did Florida play Tkachuk and Barkov together? No. Playing Draisaitl and McDavid together, right? Like that is just a terrible idea. And it should be scoffed right now in the organization. My God, that thing, go out, get it, write it on a piece of paper and burn it. We're not doing it. You want to do it at certain times in the game? No problem. But I want to build a team and I want to build roles so I know I got 1 line, 2 line, 3 line. I got bottom 6 guys. They're penalty killers. My top 6 guys are in the power play. And you know what? I don't just have to keep running them out all the time. Right? We're down 2-1. Oh, got to go to those two. Didn't even work this year in the regular season. That's the funny part. It didn't work. Look at the numbers. So, yeah, it worked a while ago. Didn't work again. So your team is better when I have to defend 16 or 14 minutes, 5-on-5 against McDavid, and another 14 against Draisaitl. It's way harder. It stresses my team, if I'm the opposing team, way more. You put them both on the ice, I'll be like, hey, we'll set our best line out there against them. And we'll break even, and we'll feel pretty good about it. So I don't like that idea at all. So please, for the love of God, anytime you hear that one, please push back, because that is a terrible idea. Terrible idea. Because they don't have a second line center to do it. And it's not like there's a laundry list of second line centers available to go get. Okay. How many teams need a second line center? And you're going to take off the best second line center and put him on the wing? No, thanks. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll get on track. Speck will join us. We got Cam Tate and more. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We're also here from Stan Bowman coming up. Here's the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC, where if you want to stop in, check out the brand new Autoplex, you can. And also, right now, you can get 0% financing on heavy-duty trucks and 0% financing on half-ton. So great deal for truck guys right now, northgategm.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
2 games tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Flyers and Hurricanes from Raleigh. That one gets going shortly. Carolina up 1 game tonight at 7:30. The Ducks and Golden Knights for game 1 in the association. You've got the Sixers taking on the Knicks just after 6 o'clock, and at 7:30, the Timberwolves heading to San Antonio, taking on Wemby and the Spurs. The Blue Jays are in action, bottom of the second, down in Tampa, trailing 3-0. We'll join that game in progress on our AM feed immediately following the Jason Gregor Show. Elsewhere, Mets up on the Rockies 4-0 heading into the 7th. Phillies, Marlins, Tigers, Red Sox scoreless later tonight. Got the Orioles and the Yankees. Royals host the Guardians, Dodgers in Houston. Mariners, Braves, and the Padres taking on the Giants. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet, and hear Cam Tate's latest 2-minute warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. It feels good to know your fund goes further at home. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth, fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1.
Hallie,
saving
Sports
you money
1440.
with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And
Down
3.
Cobb in
Saving you
first
more
inning.
money with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 Select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 Select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact because our team is built on second chances and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Gregor for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
The tents are up and the deals are out. The Brick's biggest sale of the season is on now. Take up to 60% off clearance items in the tents. Sofas start at $399 and save up to 50% on select mattresses. Plus, only until Monday, take until 2030 to pay with 0% interest. Get a sofa, coffee table, mattress, bed frame, and dining set, all for less than $1,500. Only at the Brick's tent sale. OAC, see in-store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Portions of this hour brought to you by 01 Athletic Care. Injuries don't wait, and neither should you. 01 Athletic Care offers one-stop access to doctors, x-rays, and casting. It's expert musculoskeletal care covered by Alberta Health right in West Edmonton Mall. Move from injury to recovery. Book now at 01.ca. That's ZERONE.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by playalberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Hallie. We roll through Monday afternoon. Tomorrow we'll have lots, of course, on the NHL. We got lots of stuff to get to on the order. I've been saving a lot of the clips. We'll kind of play them different ones at different times, different themes. Today we're talking, we use Leon Draisaitl's words because I thought it was pretty good to talk about the fact that, hey, you know what? We didn't take the regular season as seriously as we wanted to. Our defensive game slipped. Coaching, management, players, we all need to be better. And that, to me, I thought was a perfect summary of the season. Never really got back on track. And I think the biggest mistake the Oilers could do is panic. Because usually when you panic, you get tunnel vision. And you only see one thing, and you're like, oh, guess what? If we make this one move, it's going to solve all our problems. Not the case. Right? It's like, panic move. We need another scorer. So let's get rid of some guys, and we're going to bring guys who aren't scorers. Or used to be scorers. Jeff Skinner. He was done. Jeff Skinner's best days were behind him. Done. That was proven. Right? So, Trent Frederick, we're losing Evander Kane. We need a big physical forward. Well, let's sign him for 8 years. Pardon? Right? So don't have tunnel vision. Take a step back, exhale, and do not rush into something. Evaluate your team properly, and don't do it until you can be calm. Because if they try to evaluate this with heightened emotion, it's going to be the wrong evaluation. So welcome back. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website. Tomorrow night, though, $65 million for Lotto Max, 8 Max Millions, and 65 prizes of $100,000. Hey, who's going to scoff at $100K? Now, of course, I'd want $65 million, but I definitely wouldn't turn down $100K. That'd be pretty good. PlayAlberta.ca. As it's time now for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists. And they are hiring. If you are a top man, pipe layers, operators, go to gsconstruction.ca, look up careers, and apply today. It's Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. I don't think anyone ever panicked when they made all those bad moves you just listed. I think they thought them through and still made them, didn't they?
I don't know, man. You look at 24. What were they? 4 days from the time they ended the season to making those decisions? Wasn't a long time.
Well,
and they wasn't an experienced GM at the helm either at that time.
What decisions? July 1st decisions, you mean?
Well, that was when they got Skinner and they got rid of Fogle. That's what I'm saying. In 4 days, they made some bad decisions.
No. I don't think that's fair. I mean, 2 things. First of all, they played until July 25th or June 25th. So
they just said.
But you couldn't wait until August 6th to make those moves, right? It's a July 1st move. You're signing free agents. You sign them on July 1st. I'm going to give Jeff Jackson enough credit to say that he started working on that stuff long before the Oilers lost their last game. So in my opinion, they've had 2 July 1st that they probably spent plenty of due diligence on, and they still screwed them up. So don't talk to me about the preparation. Talk to me about the result. Don't make the wrong decision. Let's start there.
Well, but I think the decision was they were like, oh my God, we need more scores. They didn't need more scores, Spec. Scoring's never been this team's problem. It's not their problem.
I totally agree with that.
People are still texting the show today. The Oilers need more secondary scoring. I'm like, do you pay attention? No. They had 6 20-goal scorers. They had 8 18-goal scorers. Yeah. Right? And everybody's like, oh, they're slower. No, they're not slower. They don't defend well enough. That's problem number 1. It's problem number 2. It's problem number 3.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm of the mind of this is my theme here for the summer is we always fall back on goaltending in this city. It's the low-hanging fruit. It's always the goalie's fault. I think that Stan Bowman needs to realize he's going to be one of those GMs, and there's been many of them who have won cups with Aiden Hills and Antti Niemis and average goalies. Corey Crawford wasn't the greatest ever. Chris Osgood wasn't the greatest ever. All those guys won cups. So you have to say to yourself, I'm not going to get Igor Shesterkin here or Andrei Vasilevsky. So I got to build a team that can win in front of basically B goaltending. And lots of teams have done it, right? But don't build a team that I wrote this today. It's up on sportsnet.ca. Don't play hockey like you're playing in front of Carey Price and you're going to get bailed every night when you got Mikko Koskinen in net, right? You can't do it. It doesn't work. They don't have enough goaltending to be as risky as they are, Jason.
Yeah, well, hey, 100%, right? And so they got to play better defense, and Draisaitl said that.
Their best players also are included in this. Yes. Evan Bouchard, who I've stumped for a number of times on national radio, and everyone's asking the Edmonton guy, why do you think Evan Bouchard is good? And I always say because he's elite and he's number 1 and blah, blah, blah. Evan Bouchard can't be so risky. Evan Bouchard's got to get control of it, right? He's a great player. He's a number 1. He's a top whatever defenseman in the league, top 8, 9, whatever you want to say. He's got to get control of it, right? Got to get control of it. His bad days can't be as bad as they are. And Connor McDavid's got to get control of it. You can't win the Art Ross and be plus 17 when the guy next to you is plus 55 or whatever McKinnon is. Get control of it. Play winning hockey. That's what they got to do. These not just the third liners, Jason, the first liners and the power play guys. They got to get control of it, play better defensive hockey.
Yeah, that's fair. I look at the coaching staff. If my one, when I step back and say, hey, the team's got to play better defensively, I would agree. I think the coaching staff has to have a higher standard for when you don't play well defensively, that you're going to, Darnell Nurse, Evan Bush, I don't care who it is, if it's the fourth line guys, if you're making the mistakes that, and hey, I get that the top guys, I'm not talking about if you try a pass and it gets knocked down in the neutral zone. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your attention to detail defensively and what's required of you. And the guys who are on the ice the most, guess what? Yeah, they're going to make more mistakes. It's not an even, well, if he makes one mistake and the third line guy makes one mistake, they're punished even. They're not. And I get that. It makes sense to me. But I don't, the year before, he set the tone early in the season. Game 4 of the season, Leon Draisaitl sat on the bench. Wasn't a long time, but for him, it was 7 minutes of time. And the only reason he got on the ice was because the Oilers got a power play, right? Otherwise, he probably would have, if it was 5-on-5, he would have stayed there. He got on the ice, and to his credit, Leon Draisaitl responded. Because there's two things at play here. When the coach does it, it's up to the player to respond. And Draisaitl said, okay, message taken. He took one penalty in the next 50 games, right? He stopped with the unnecessary penalties, undisciplined penalties. Yep. There wasn't any of that this year from the coach. And that's where, when a 35-goal scorer has a bad year down at 22, we talk about it. To me, Knobloch's step back this year was he didn't hold his guys accountable enough. And that's part of coaching.
Absolutely. I would always say, I've said this before on our show here, Jason, your show. Evan Bouchard makes his own ice time, right? He makes a mistake, the team gets behind, and then the coach says, oh my God, we're behind. We got to play Evan Bouchard more, right? He creates his own ice time. So, and I know I sound like I'm picking on Bouchard, but he's we're talking about their top players, and he is a top player, a genuine number one guy. And we always expect lots from him. But my point is this: I need a coach who's got the guts to say, whoever you are, whether you're Matthias Janmark or Connor McDavid, we got some tenets on this team. We got some things we don't do now. We don't make fancy dipsy doodle moves at the offensive blue line, drop passes when you're the last guy back. We don't do that anymore. We're stopping that. And if you do it and they score and we get a power play 3 minutes later, you're on the bench and someone else is in the power play. This whole premise of, well, geez, yeah, our guys put us in a two-goal deficit because they made risky, brutal backhand passes as the last guy on the, last guy back. But now we got a power play, so we got to put them out there and try to get the game back. No, that's got to stop. So let's talk about the coaching, right? Is Chris Knobloch that guy? Can he look McDavid in the eye? Can he look Draisaitl in the eye and say, you sit, we're going to have a different power play today. You're not going to be on it for this one. See the guy?
Well, I don't know if there's many coaches around the league who bench their first unit power play very often. So let's just make that clear. Especially
I'm talking twice a year is what I'm talking. Yeah, 82 games.
You can send a message early. I have no problem. The fact that he benched Draisaitl, yeah, I think he could do it again. I don't think it's that difficult to ask, right? So I don't think it's I look at Knobloch, and you could get rid of Chris Knobloch. I think we talk about goaltending. Goaltending coaches get all the blame in Edmonton all the time, and they get the major ones. The coach gets fired, right? We've had how many different coaches? Oh, now Knobloch's not fire enough. Was Todd McClellan fiery? Todd McClellan was very fiery. They didn't win with him, right? Dave Tippett could get fired up at the refs. So we can always try to find a new excuse for everybody if you want. Yes. But here's the thing. Could Knobloch, does he have to be better? Yes. The other guys get the opportunity. Why can't I say to the coach, you know what? Last year was a little down year for you. I expect you to return because your previous 2 years were pretty damn good. Fair. So I'd give the coach, you give all the other players the benefit of the doubt. But in Edmonton, it's coach can never get the benefit of the doubt. The goalies can never get the benefit of the doubt because I got to blame someone. No, it's a team that loses. and the whole team didn't play good defense. The coach was responsible for it because they didn't demand enough. So say, hey, man, this is what we expect. And guess what? In game 30 of next season, Spec, if the same stuff is happening, then you can look to making a coaching change then, if nothing changes. But I would at least give him the opportunity to see if he can learn from last year.
No, I'd say he's earned it. And I guess my only question is, if you weren't that guy naturally, how do you turn into that guy? Right? Like, I just feel like, and it's not even really, I'm not trying to take a shot at Connor McDavid and Draisaitl. Like, I thought Draisaitl's had an impassioned plea on Saturday. I thought he was great. Like, I've been to just spent a lifetime here covering NHL hockey and going to exit meetings at the end of the season and watching other teams' exit meetings like I did today. I watched the Leafs press conference today, but sometimes I've watched many other teams have their exit meetings online and things like that. I have never seen two star players, the two superstars, come out and take their organization to task the way Draisaitl and McDavid did on Saturday. I've never seen it. And that, for Oilers fans, like, you got to love that, man. These guys want to win. They stop playing the cool hockey player that just kicks back and says, oh, everything's great. Draisaitl even talked about McDavid's contract. Hockey players never talk about each other's contracts, right? Never. He says McDavid's got 2 more years, and God knows what happens after that. That's like a cardinal sin among cool hockey players, right? But Draisaitl cares, man. He cares, and he really he sort of exposed that he's not just some hip, Willie Styles here. He's a guy that was dying to win, and he's signed on for 7 more years or whatever it is. So I really loved what happened Saturday, and I think the organization shouldn't minimize that. I think those two players, man, McDavid came out and he didn't back down from anything Draisaitl said. I thought it was awesome. And I think if you're an Oilers fan, I think you should be quite positive that your top 2 guys care that much.
Oh, yeah. So what changes do you think ultimately get made this summer? If I'd ask you today, it's May 4th. Give me your top 3 changes you think that will occur.
Top 3.
Yeah, like significant changes, if you think there's significant, or maybe there's none. But what do you think at any level of the organization, from management to coaches to players? What do you think?
I don't see this coaching staff surviving in its entirety, for sure. I don't see that at all. Right? I think that.
Well, let's be honest here. Mark Stewart's the guy, because he basically lost his job during the season.
He did, yeah. If I'm Mark Stewart, I'm probably quitting, because they've cut me off here anyway. So I mean, that's not a major move, but I'm not
a big move, Spec, considering what's the biggest flaw of the team defensively.
Well,
so you're replacing your defensive coach. It's a pretty big move.
Firing an assistant coach isn't that big a deal. Here's why I don't, in terms of the management, and I'll get back to you. I want to bring up a trade for you that your previous interview guy was talking about, Alberga. Here's the deal. Cates is looking at his team. This is next year might be McDavid's last year in Edmonton, right? Like, Daryl Cates is looking at losing the greatest player in the world, maybe after the next year, if things don't go his way. How much do you think McDavid affects the overall profitability of the Edmonton Oilers? Ticket sales,
significant
playoff dates, jersey sales, right?
Yeah.
How about franchise value? You think McDavid doesn't help the franchise value? You're damn right he does. So the big guy, Daryl, he's looking at this thing, and his hands are in the pie right now, okay? Like, you don't think there's some serious conversations going on around the Oilers front office. I don't know where Daryl lives anymore, but he's busy with Edmonton at this moment, right? He's not talking about making Spanish films and all the other stuff he does. He's a rich guy with a million pursuits. Right now, he's talking about the Edmonton Oilers and his investment. So you tell me where it's going to go, Jay. Does he like the GM? Does he like the coach? Does he like the players? Does he like the towel boy? Like, man, when Daryl speaks, there's reverberations throughout the organization. And right now he's speaking a whole bunch. So what's going to happen? How about this trade? Okay, I got one for you, Jay. I'm going to throw a trade at you right now. Ready? Darnell Nurse for Morgan Riley. Darnell Nurse is 31. Morgan Riley's 32. They're both in finishing year 4.
Yeah,
of
they
an
each have
8-year
4
contract.
years. Each have 4 years left.
Yeah, and Darnell makes 9.25 and Riley makes 7.5. Both guys are good players, not great, and both guys need a change of scenery. Would you make that trade?
That's a good question.
Let's say the Oilers retain $1 million or whatever it takes to make the salaries completely equal, just for fun.
Completely equal.
Completely equal in salary and term.
Yeah, Is Morgan Riley better in a second pair? Probably. And that's where Nurse plays.
They're both second pairing defensemen. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Right.
The only difference for me is Nurse a much better skater. Right. I think Riley, I think Riley's probably makes more smart plays.
Yes.
Right. So Nurse is more physical.
Yes, sir. More physical.
Not that he uses it all the time, but he is.
Sure. Yes.
Here's the thing, Spec, and I've the two guys you talked about yesterday, they're big fans of Darnell Nurse. Right. So, and Nurse A has a no movement clause. So
I know all that stuff. I know all that stuff. I think Riley does too.
Yeah. Yeah. So would he do it? And not that the players have to sign off on it, but
they do have to sign off on it. I think they both have no moves.
I meant McDavid and Draisaitl.
Oh, I see.
And my understanding is in the past, when the organizations discussed even thinking about it, they're like, no, we like him as a player. So I'm not sure if they're ready to do it yet.
That's fair. But I'm throwing it at you as a
it's
no.
People
says no.
I can see both sides saying sometimes trades work out for both teams for different reasons.
Second team, baby. Right. Second team.
So it's one that we'll see. Shaika, would he do it? Would they do the numbers? I don't know. It would be an interesting one to say. I think Edmonton, I know there's lots of people who want to trade Darnell Nurse. I'm not trading Darnell Nurse unless I'm getting back a solid defenseman because Matthias Ekholm's older, right? And I don't know, how many minutes is that? Like, I think Matthias Ekholm better off playing 1 or 2 less minutes a game moving forward, just based on age, based on everything else. So the one thing Nurse doesn't get hurt, and Nurse can eat minutes. He might not give you great, but he eats minutes. So if you don't have him, like Jake Wallman, good player. I think Jake Wallman's ready for more as long as does he come into camp in the best shape of his life? That's a saying, but you know what I mean? Like in top shape. And can he stay healthy?
Well, better.
Right? Like, can he stay healthy? Because he's a guy who's always missed 15 games a year, pretty much like clockwork.
Okay, I think that one of the themes on Edmonton's blue line next year is I can play Ekholm with Bouchard still, but not as much. Ekholm needs to find a way to get a bit of a break here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Ekholm's minutes, what did he play this year? Is he a 20-minute defenseman? I think he's about a 20-minute defenseman. 19. I think that if I'm wise, I try to pair a little bit of time off that. I think we know this. Nurse has never played well with Bouchard. I think we've got enough empirical evidence to say that's not a pairing we want to have more of next year, right? I think the guys who do the analytics would tell you that. I think Morgan Riley would be a fresh start in that position. I think I'm not telling you I'm playing him as my first pairing defenseman with Bouchard. It's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying he can take some of those minutes from Ekholm, which in the Oilers right now, Ekholm just signed a new deal. Ekholm saying, play for my team, love the guy, but Father Time was undefeated. You got to find a way to steal a couple of minutes a night from Matthias Ekholm. And a guy like Riley could do that. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Spec, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think both teams, I'll be curious about Edmonton and some changes. I have some things I think that might happen. We'll discuss them tomorrow on the show. Have yourself a great day.
All right, Jay.
There you go. That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. We'll return. We got Cam Tate. We got a lot of texts to get to. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440.
Action Electrical Solar Team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy. Designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Throttle, open her up and get rolling to Harley-Davidson of Edmonton's open house Saturday, May 9th. Enter to win a new Harley-Davidson motorcycle and get in on the giveaways and door prizes. Come check out a huge selection of new and pre-owned bikes, riding gear, Harley t-shirts, and more. Don't miss it. This Saturday, May 9th at Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail. Kent family owned and operated since 1980. Details at hdedmonton.com.
A huge thank you for making Sports 1440 the most listened to sports radio station in Edmonton. From Gregor to Curious to Low Tide, we've got in-depth analysis on all your favorite sports. We are Sports 1440.
Nothing beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
And a deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or on the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
Free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
a double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value. For a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
Everything is going to be okay. Any business, regardless of size, can stumble occasionally. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. If your business is facing financial challenges, our team of chartered insolvency and restructuring professionals have corporate debt recovery solutions that work. Schedule your free Faber Focus session at faber.ca today. Chances of a positive outcome increase if you engage Faber sooner rather than later.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
O'Hanlon Paving is looking for finished skid steer operators, finished grader operators, Class 1 drivers, and more to join their Edmonton Road Crew team. Bring your positive attitude and great work ethic to their job fair, Friday, May 8th from 10 till 3. Visit o'hanlonpaving.com/careers.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on. Hey, welcome back. Oh, it's the NHL playoffs. Where expect the unexpected. Because you went into the game tonight and you're watching Carolina and you're thinking, man, how are the Flyers going to score? So the Carolina Hurricanes this season in playoff games, in their first 5 games, no goals, 2 goals, 1 goal against, 2 goals against, no goals against. 5 goals in their first 5 games. They gave up 2 goals in 39 seconds in the first 4:41 of the first period tonight. Like, come on. No, and Flyers just had another breakaway stopped. So it's wild. Now, Nikolai Ehlers did score to make it 2-1, but the Hurricanes actually give the Flyers credit, man. They found a way to create some opportunities here tonight so far against a team that really hasn't given up much at all. So now we'll see if that continues through the rest of the game. But give the Flyers credit, man. They scored twice, 2 goals in a period, obviously, which is a big deal. Draisaitl and then Couturier scored, and we'll see. And they're doing it so far without one of their best players, as the Red Rocket is out tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers with an injury. So, probably when we don't expect them to do anything, they'll score 3 goals. Wild stuff. They got another power play, so we'll see where it goes. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. As time now for the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. It's getting warm. You want to stay cool. LegacyHeating.ca. And Cam Tate, longtime journalist in town, 45 years in the biz. Cam, of course, born with cerebral palsy. He's been in a wheelchair. Never let him slow him down. He always wants to be on the radio. And through the wonders of technology, Cam's words come to life in the 2-minute warning.
Everybody sitting down? Gregor, buckle up. Connor, give your cap the cap, I think. You go to Betty Buys with a good tug. Kruger, take a good gulp of coffee. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Pay attention, little Benny. Do not want to win the Stanley Cup. It was confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt Monday. They don't. No way, no how. Their announcement Monday makes as much sense as putting a wet floor sign at the bottom of Niagara Falls. You kidding me? Maple Leaf Sports and Interratingment boss Keith Pelly and his Elton John glasses announced the Leafs has hired an honor student from the Bruce McNall School of Ethics. Quite the last name. Let's see how this computer-generated gizmo pronounces last name. So let's fire it up. Chaika, as in John Chaika. Let's try it again. Chaika, the guy who hasn't been in the league for 6 years. Oh, perfect. You remember John, right? The fellow who bolted from the Edmonton bubble faster than a kid dodging a dental appointment? They say he had 6 computer monitors in his old office, but only one actually worked. Back in 2021, Commissioner Bettman handed him a suspension for conduct detrimental, which is just a polite hockey way of saying he was caught flirting with the New Jersey Devils while he was still supposedly married to the Arizona Coyotes. Chaika was asked about the Arizona situation and gave answers that honestly gave me a headache. More importantly, though, he offered no apology. Interesting. If he tries that double dating act in Toronto, the fans will have him on the first flight to anywhere else before he can even find the on switch for his desk. But the real person I feel sorry for in this mess is Matt Sundin, the Toronto Maple Leaf great who's being dragged in as senior executive advisor, a 3-word title which should have been bodyguard, ambassador, and fall guy. Sundin certainly doesn't need this. Maple Leaf fans don't need this. And Keith Pelly, he needs to clean those Elton John glasses, or better yet, buy a complete new pair. 2-minute warning. Gregor, Hallie, Kruger. Nothing funny here today. I'm Cam Tate.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Hey, we'll see how he does in his second tour. Now, if Steve Simmons claims of 20 executives saying the guy's a fraudster and a joke, whatever, what that does is it limits some teams' willingness to want to do deals with you. That's just human nature. So if indeed that's true, and I have no reason to say it isn't, I have no reason to say it is, right? But if 20, so that means then there's only 10, there's 11 teams then of guys that you didn't talk to who are like, and who knows, maybe all those 11 agree or disagree. I have no idea. Now, were the 20 executives from 20 different teams, or is it 5 guys from one organization? That's another thing, right? Yeah, I talked to the GM, the assistant GM, the other assistant GM, and pro scout. All these guys, yeah, they didn't like him. But if they're all from one team, it's kind of misrepresented. So we'll see how it goes. 833-401-1440, 1440. Hey, Gregor, with the injuries that you talk about affecting the team, the issue then switches to the depth, which again is the GM's job to maintain. There is part of the win now problem. You end up with no young high-end prospects. Dave. Well, Dave, I think you have to be realistic. When you're talking all four centers, name one team in the NHL that has enough depth to overcome their top four centers being out of the lineup or playing hurt. No one. No one has 8 center depth available, ready to go. Right? None. Like zilch, zero, none. So Edmonton, when you say you don't have high-end prospects, Matt Savoy, 9th overall pick. As a rookie, he just scored 18 goals, 37 points, with very limited power play time. I'd say he's a high-end prospect. Podkolzin, 24 years of age, a 10th overall draft pick, just scored 19 goals, all at 5-on-5. Like when you use the term high-end prospect, I think people have to be realistic. Edmonton isn't drafted. They still were able to trade for a 9th and a 10th round draft pick, and they gave up a 4th round pick and Ryan McLeod to get those 2 players. I'd say that's pretty good, right? Now you got Howard. Now you gave up O'Reilly to get Howard. We'll see where Howard goes. But when you've got McDavid and Draisaitl, again, the Oilers' offensive depth is not their issue. Okay, like we shouldn't have to repeat that, guys. Pay attention, watch the games. If you lose Draisaitl and McDavid, how the hell do you think you're going to have depth to replace them, realistically? Oh, and then Dickinson, oh, now he has a fracture. Oh, now Henrique's out. And you think you're going to have depth? Come on. There's only so much depth any organization can have at the center ice position to think that you're going to overcome that. Like, name a team that could do it, right? There's none. Right? There's none. Just can't do it. Hey, guys, I'm curious, how much weight do you put on the noise the Oiler fan base as a whole for some of these players are playing? The negativity around Nurse. Do you think it would make a difference if the fan group was pumping him up and supporting him to build his confidence? Same with guys that left like Skinner or other current players. Curious your thoughts from Adam. Well, Adam, I've been at every Oilers home game. I don't think I've ever heard Darnell Nurse get booed in the rink. Stu Skinner, I might make a save. Stu, big chance. Right? Those guys aren't, if they're smart, they're not following, the average fan on Twitter. No offense, but why would you? Right? Why would you do it? Like, there's very little benefit. So I don't know how much of it they hear, to be honest. I've never really bought into that, right? Like, they hear you cheering when things go well, right? That's what they hear. But Stu never got booed. Darnell never got booed. Stu's a pretty mentally tough. Well, obviously Darnell probably is too. You make it to the NHL, I think you got to be fairly mentally tough to get there. I think at times Nurse probably heard it, but my only complaint with Darnell was I found like at times it felt like, you know what? There was never any accountability to say, I need to play better. Right? Now, maybe you don't want to say that. You don't want to respond to it. That's fine. But I don't think that Darnell's hockey sense has anything to do with the fan base. Right? He's one of the best defensemen in the league at being able to track guys down, right? Because of his speed and his length and his reach. But in the course of the game, your decisions in front of the net, nothing is due to, oh, well, geez, little Johnny 8675 said I was a bad player. I don't buy into that at all. So I don't think there's much to that. When Trent Frederick didn't score all year, and I shouldn't say, like, and everyone says he got off to a slow start. He scored in his 4th game of the season, right? Like, there wasn't an extended drought to start the year. After that, it became a problem, for sure, right? Remember when he scored, and he scored a big goal. Scored the first goal of the game. It was Edmonton game winner when they beat the Rangers 2-0, right? On a breakaway, scored 4 games into the season, playing center ice. So, yes, I know he played a game with McDavid and Draisaitl and didn't work, and everyone's like, oh, that's why he sucked for the next 3 months. Frederick didn't get to train the way he wanted, and he was slower. Now, he's never the most fleet of foot player. So when you're not the fastest guy, like when McDavid loses speed, he's still faster than everybody. That's his advantage. When Frederick loses speed, it's noticeable. So I think the organization has to look and say, how can, like, what, we got to give Frederick more of a role. And then he's got to give us, coming to camp in tip-top shape. Not best shape of his life, just high-end shape because he doesn't have any injuries. That's why I made sure I asked Dan Bowman that question. Did any of the injuries something that you think will carry over to next season? None. Well, that's a good sign. So Zach Hyman comes in healthy. Trent Frederick comes in healthy. That'll make a big difference to your whole team. All your other players, barring an off-season injury, which can happen in training, unfortunately, that shouldn't be an issue for anybody. Nobody has an injury that will limit their off-season training for an extended period of time. That's good news for them. We'll take a quick break, come back, wrap things up on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. Mortgagestogo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, good, I'm good to go.
Novo Blinds is your home ice advantage for window coverings. Edmonton's own custom manufacturer with over 300 five-star reviews from homeowners, builders, and commercial contractors. Book a free in-home consultation at novoblinds.ca.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. Hire Good provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact because our team is built on second chances and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Gregor for a first-time discount. Hire Good. Stable jobs create stable lives.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks, your home for playoff hockey. Head over to ontherocks.yg.com for more information.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.50, Jason Gregor, Connor Howes. We return to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Lots of texts again. I love it. And we'll get some phone line open again tomorrow, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Got a lot of texts. Hey, Gregor, what were your thoughts on Subban and his order comments from MTR? MTR, you're just trying to get me fired up at the end of the show, aren't you? For PK Subban to claim the Oilers were never close to winning is factually incorrect, which makes it the most moronic comment. Too often now, we live in the hot take world. A hot take that is, an opinion's one thing. You can't make a claim like that is factually incorrect. They lost 2-1 in Game 7. The only way to get closer is losing 2-1 in overtime. Okay? That's the only way. How can you say they weren't close? You lose game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. Not game 7 of round 1, not game 7 of round 2 or 3. Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. And the game was tied 1-1. It wasn't like it was 2-0 and they scored 1-0 late. Right? So it's just, there's two, I find at times, you have some people who are unprepared or just want to make statements to have you talking. And usually I don't fall for those ones. It's like online, like, hey, I like him, Whitney and Biz Nasty, but I give up on my team shtick, I find it lame, to be honest. If you're going to say you're a fan of a team, to just give up on them and if they lose this series, I'm not a fan anymore. Right? Like, come on. And you already gave up on them once. So now you've done it again. So what happens when they make the playoffs next year? And guess what? When the Oilers in the second round, they're going to back on, and all Oilers fans are going to be like, oh, great. And I'm like, you're suckers if you fall for it again. Right? And hey, I get it's a fun shtick. At least that's not harmful. That's not an inaccurate or completely unfactual opinion. For Subban to claim Edmonton's never been close is just dumb. Right? It's just dumb, and it's factually incorrect. And so we want to sit here and talk about, hey, coaches need to be held accountable. Players need to be held accountable. I have no problem with that. And I have no problem holding members of the media. And the other thing is I hate when people use the term media. That's why I'll single out the person. Because he doesn't represent all media people. I can tell you right now, when I put that tweet, you know how many texts I got actually in notes from other people saying thanks? Because and any fan would say, media said this. No. Tell me who said it. Because they speak for themselves. They don't speak for me. I don't speak for anybody else. If I have an opinion on something, Connor Halley doesn't have to agree with me. He doesn't sit there, Gregor said it, so we all agree. No, it's not how it works. So that'd be my one thing. Don't ever, if it's easy to use the term media, but it's factually incorrect. One person doesn't speak for everybody. One person in the media can be wrong on any given day, and that means they're wrong, not everybody else. And so I think when Subban makes claims like that, it makes easier to just lump sum and say, look, media is not informed. No, he's not informed on this one topic. Sadly, it's being a little bit more common, just like makes outrageous claims thinking, it's good. It's terrible. It's lazy. I don't like it. On behalf of Connor Halley, Jason Gregor, have yourselves a wonderful Monday. Tomorrow, we got a lot of football talk, a lot of NHL talk, and we will get into, we're going to break down some of Stan Bowman's comments tomorrow on the show. I think you'll like it. Let's get to the comment and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. At Fountain Tire, they focus on your vehicle so you can focus on enjoying the drive worry-free. Book your appointment today at fountaintire.com.
The sports 1440 update.
2 games tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs. After 20 minutes, Flyers up on the Hurricanes 2-1. Carolina leads in series 1 game to none. Later on tonight, game 1, Golden Knights and Ducks. Puck drop just after 7:30. In the association, 2 games tonight as well. Knicks 76ers get going in about 10 minutes time. Then at 7:30, got Timberwolves in Spurs from San Antonio. Major League Baseball, Jays in action, trailing the Rays 3-1 in the bottom of the 5th. We're joining that game in progress coming up on our AM feed only. Elsewhere, Mets on top of the Rockies 4-2. Tigers have a 2-0 lead over the Red Sox. Phillies up on the Marlins 1-0. And the Orioles at home trail the Yankees 2-0. Later tonight, Astros, Dodgers, White Sox in Anaheim, Mariners host the Braves, and the Padres taking on the Giants. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, Blue Jays baseball on the AM feed. If you're streaming, you get Fox Sports Radio. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only